that's already available to help states support mental health and combat gun violence. ABC's Andy Field has details from Washington.
The president is not announcing any new executive action. Instead, he will remind states, cities, and schools there is money to support mental health in the already passed bipartisan gun safety law that many aren't using. The money can be used to train health professionals, first responders, and school counselors to spot and prevent potential gun violence and treat those already affected by shootings. The president will make the remarks at the National Safer Communities Summit in Connecticut.
Minneapolis Police Department discriminates against Black and Native American people. That's what U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland said while revealing the findings of an investigation prompted by the death of George Floyd. The investigation also found the department routinely violated the rights of people engaging in protected speech. With the shared revenue passed by the state legislature, the task in hand for the mayor of Milwaukee is to convince skeptical council members to get on board with the plan.
The measure, which will be signed by the governor, will allow Milwaukee to raise the sales tax.
This puts Milwaukee in line with best practices with cities across the country.
But only if Mayor Cavalier Johnson can get 2/3 of the Common Council to go along with the increase. Some council members have criticized the deal. Johnson tells 101.7 The Truth that without it, less cops will be on the streets.
We would see hundreds and hundreds of police officers no longer on the beat. We would see our library system disappear. And those are not things that I want to see. And I think people in Milwaukee want those services as well.
Eric Bilstead, WDTMJ News.
Today's the day. Hundreds of residents who lived in a recently condemned apartment complex on Milwaukee's north side have till the end of the day to either join a class action lawsuit against the building's developers or take a buyout. TMJ4's Elaine Rojas Castillo.
Michael Surchak is representing the residents' rights in this case, and he says that those rights are being taken away by signing the lease agreement that's being offered by CWC. That agreement would end their current lease in exchange for $5,000. But adds that the offer would require residents to give up their rights to any future legal action if they have any illness as a result of the exposure.
The issue that folks were running into is that it's a very quick time frame to be able to make a decision as to what you want to do with respect to your rights and how to find a new place to live.
Residents have until today to sign that agreement and until the 27th to find a new place to live.
The Whitefish Bay High School baseball team is D1 state champions after beating Hortonville 5-1 on Thursday. Brewers manager Craig Counsell was at the game. His son Jack is on the team. Earlier this week, Counsell told WTMJ how much he had enjoyed seeing his kid play.
Any parent who gets to watch their kids, do something they love doing and have spent a lot of time, working hard to get good at it, it's fun to watch the results of that.
The game was played at the Timber Rattler Stadium in Appleton. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Citing Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 12:04.
Lake Geneva. It's where families have been making memories around the water for generations. Lakeside resorts and spas, award-winning restaurants, and charming shops are just the beginning of an unforgettable summer getaway. Lake cruises, boating, and beach lounging let you soak up the sun, water, and family time. Hike a lakeshore path, stargaze from an iconic observatory, or soar above it all in a hot air balloon. Go ziplining, visit an animal safari, or see dancing horses. Start making your memories today at visitlakegeneva.com.
You're gonna love it all when you shop at St. Vincent de Paul. Old things, new things here for you. We're always changing, we're always new. So many friendly people, smiles from wall to wall. You're gonna love it, St. Vincent de Paul. You're gonna love it, St. Vincent de Paul.
You're back at the gym. Your new gym outfit? On point. Your new sneakers? Baller. You've got this. Just like Associated Bank's got you with Access Checking. It's maintenance fee-free with no minimum balance requirements. So when you take your first yoga class in 10 months, your body might surprise you, but your checking account won't. You've got this with Access Checking from Associated Bank. See associatedbank.com/checking or ask a banker for details. Member FDIC.
Find Dad's Day deals that won't be beat this Father's Day at Fleet Farm. This week, take 25% off select Under Armour apparel and footwear for the family. Or get a Bighorn Greystone pellet grill for just $279.99. Plus, if you find a lower price, we'll match it. We have what you need for everyday life at new, lower prices. Fleet Farm.
Time for a WTMJ Sports
Following a
Update.
day off, the Brewers begin a 6-game homestand tonight against the Pittsburgh Pirates. Milwaukee one half game back at Pittsburgh for first place in the NL Central. Coverage gets underway tonight following the 6 o'clock news on WTMJ. Brewers lefty pitcher Wade Miley expected to come off the injured list and start on Saturday. We are less than 1 week away from the NBA draft. The Bucks own just one selection, number 58 overall. And round 2 of the U.S. Open underway from Los Angeles Country Club. Wyndham Clark in the lead at 9 under par. Xander Schauffele and Ricky Fowler, yesterday's leaders, one shot off the pace at 8 under. Greg Matzik, WTMJ Sports.
Take a look at your roads now with your Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver traffic. Still smooth sailing out there. 94 inbound from Highway 16 to the Zoo. It's about a 10-minute drive in the Zoo into downtown, running about 5. 43 southbound from Brown Deer Road to the Marquette Interchange, a typical 10 minutes. And 94 north from Layton Avenue to downtown, running about 6 this afternoon.
Traffic is sponsored by Harwood Place Senior Living. Learn more about Harwood Place Retirement Living's newly renovated apartments and updated pricing options. Visit harwoodplace.org or call to schedule a tour.
Your WTMJ 5-day forecast today, decreasing cloudiness. It'll be hazy, high 68 lakeside to 75 inland. Clear skies tonight with a low 53. Sunny tomorrow, high 77 to 81. Sunday, partly cloudy, high 78 to 83 inland. Monday, partly sunny, 79 to 88 inland. And Tuesday, mostly sunny. It's going to be in the 80s, both lakeside and inland, with highs ranging from 80 to 89. Right now in Madison, 62. Green Bay, 59. Milwaukee, 60 degrees. I'm Connie Weber, Siding Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 12:08.
Live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue, it's the Jeff Wagner Show. Come join the conversation on the Old National Bank talk and text line at 855-616-1620. Old National Bank. Get old. Now, here's WTMJ's Jeff Wagner.
Good afternoon, Wisconsin. Welcome to the show. So very glad to have you with us. A couple quick reminders. Before the end of the show today, I have one more 4-pack of tickets to Summerfest to give away. We will be doing that before 3 o'clock. Summerfest, of course, again, this year, it's Thursday, Friday, and Saturday for 3 consecutive weeks, starting next Thursday, the 22nd. And my program will be originating, I think, every weekday that Summerfest is operating. I'll be there starting next Thursday. So if you're out and about, come on down, say hello. We enjoy the opportunity to interact in that fashion. Speaking of interacting, number of ways that you can take part in the program. Our podcasts, which are available through WTMJ.com or anywhere you get your podcasts, whether it's Spotify or Apple iTunes or whatever. And I know a number of you do listen to the podcast if you can't hear the whole show live. Appreciate that very much. I get to see the numbers. In addition, want to remind you once again that in addition to doing the spoken word radio for the last month or so, we've now been live streaming the shows from our Avenue studio, and you can check it out. I see a number of people like queued up already waiting for the feed to start. It just has. You can see how Fran has dressed me on any given day. Simply either go to YouTube. We have our own WTMJ YouTube channel, or alternatively, just WTMJ.com. Click on the Watch Live, and you can follow this. All right, let us get started. So this morning, because road construction around here is just so nuts, and you never know what you're going to find, I'm always exploring with alternative ways to come to work. And so today I decided, instead of getting on the freeway and dealing with the 2 lanes and the road construction and all that, I thought I'm going to take a more leisurely approach. And I thought, okay, what I'll do is I'm going to take Lake Drive all the way down from the North Shore down to Lincoln Memorial Drive and then take that into downtown. It's a little bit longer drive for me, but it's a pleasant drive. It's a more relaxed drive. You're not fighting traffic and construction and lane changes and things like that. So that was the decision, and I had enough time to do it, so I wasn't in a particular rush. I'm glad I wasn't in a particular rush because coming down today, I ran into what I acknowledge is one of my ultimate pet peeves when it comes to driving. And I would never be somebody who gives into road rage. But if I were somebody who gave into road rage, this would be my single biggest pet peeve. Left lane lollygaggers. So I'm driving down Lake Drive, and then it turns into Lincoln Memorial Drive. The speed limit, depending on where you are, is either 30 or 35 miles an hour. It kind of varies. So you're driving down there, and I come upon a car that the speed limit was 35. The car is driving 28. And the car, and I'm because I'm now like watching this, and there's all these cars that are kind of backed up, and just because of the way it's configured, it's very, very difficult to like try to get around and pass this car on the right. So you're sort of stuck with this traffic jam. It's a parade where somebody is driving in the left lane, and they're driving, in this case, about 7 miles below the speed limit. So finally, it kind of widens out, and everybody starts to pass the car on the right. And I'm not talking about passing it at 40 or 50 miles an hour. I'm just talking about, okay, let's get up to the speed limit or a mile or two an hour beforehand and pass it. So, okay, pass the one left lane lollygagger. I figure, all right, smooth sailing. Let me enjoy the view of the lakefront, all this stuff. So I'm coming down Lincoln Memorial Drive. The speed limit there, at least where I noticed this, it's 30 miles an hour. And I know this because I've got this thing on my car, my new car, that tells me exactly what the speed limit is wherever I am. You know, GPS and that stuff, computers are a wonderful thing. So I'm kind of cruising around. Oh, look, the lakefront looks nice. You know, here the sun's going to come out. That'll be wonderful. And then all of a sudden, I see this other slowdown because, yes, there is another left lane lollygagger there. 20, I'm not making this up, 24 miles an hour in the 30 mile an hour zone in the left lane, cruising slowly and backing up traffic. And it's interesting because I'm watching people, again, wait for the moment to try to pass the person on the right, in the right lane. And I'm kind of watching this, and everybody's giving this person dirty looks, but they don't care because they're cruising in the left lane at their 24 miles an hour. Our number is 855-616-1620. That's the Old National Bank talk and text line. Now, there are some states, like Florida, where it is now against the law, at least on the freeways. It would not apply to the residential streets, but where it's against the law to be a left lane lollygagger. And that if you're moving in the passing lane below the posted speed limit, you can in fact be cited. The idea is you pass on the left, you drive on the right. Now, I understand that what we're talking about now is it's a two-lane road, so I'm not suggesting that the left lane is necessarily a passing lane. At the same time, though, all right, if you're driving below the posted speed limit, shouldn't you be in the right lane? 855-616-1620. That is the Old National Bank talk and text line. I admit, it's one of my pet peeves. Left lane lollygaggers. If you want to drive slowly, go with God. I get it. That's okay. If you don't feel comfortable on a dry day driving the speed limit, that's okay. But you should be on the right, not clogging up traffic in the left lane. Am I missing something? 855-616-1620. We discuss in a moment.
Jeff Wagner is back right after this on WTMJ.
Had a rough week? Not to worry. Relax and join Jeff Wagner every Friday at 2:35 for Pop Culture Corner. Brought to you by Palermo's Pizza. Come tell us the best of the best in pop culture, and you could win a prize package from Palermo's.
What is the best movie sequel of all time? Your guilty pleasure on television? I've got a whole long list. Curious to hear from you.
It's Wagner's Pop Culture Corner. Fridays at 2:35 on WTMJ.
Now, about your house. Eric Brown is the president of Siding Unlimited, your contractor for new windows, roofing, siding, decks, and a whole lot more. He knows about your house. So what do you know, Eric?
Do you have new siding and now you just want to keep it looking great? There are a couple things that come to mind when maintaining a beautiful home exterior. The first is just a good old cleaning. We recommend that you use a hose or a very light setting on your pressure washer to spray the dust off your siding. Don't force the water onto the siding very hard because water could get behind the siding and cause damage. Your home may or may not have a weather barrier behind the siding, and using high pressure water could cause problems. Definitely clean your siding to keep it looking beautiful, but don't get crazy and wash it off the building. Another quick tip to avoid siding issues comes with our favorite summer activity, grilling out. As much fun as it is to try different grilling recipes, using the grill too close to the home could result in some unforeseen disasters. When you use your grill, make sure it is away from the home. I like to make sure it is at least 7 feet from the house. If you have vinyl siding, the results of the grill being too close can be obvious, melted siding. However, if you have siding that won't melt, the heat from the grill could cause issues with the siding's paint or radiate through the siding and cause issues with the insulation, wiring, plumbing, or anything else in the wall that the heat could disturb. When you get new siding that is going to last a lifetime, just a few house cleaning tips can go a long way in preserving your beautiful home. Oh yeah, and keep the weed whacker away from the siding too. That never ends well.
Eric and his crews at Siding Unlimited are your go-to contractor here for replacement windows, roofing, decks, and, of course, siding. They are the best, as acknowledged by the many rewards their suppliers have conferred upon them. Now, take the next step. Check them out at sidingunlimited.com. Siding Unlimited. Siding and a whole lot more.
Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
One Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi, 6 Mississippi, 7 Mississippi, 8 Mississippi, 9 Mississippi, 10 Mississippi.
You guys, you lollygag the ball around the infield. You lollygag your way down to first. You lollygag in and out of the dugout. Do you know what that makes you, Larry?
Lollygaggers.
Lollygaggers. What's our record, Larry?
8-16.
8-16. How'd we ever win 8?
It's a miracle.
It's a miracle.
Lollygaggers, left lane lollygaggers. Yep, that's what you see all around. One of my ongoing frustrations, ran into it this morning. I mean, seriously, if you want to drive 24 miles an hour in a 35 mile an hour zone, that's okay, but why are you doing it in the left lane? Let's start with Tom in Bayview. Tom, you're on WTMJ. Good afternoon.
Hey, Jeff. Thanks for taking my call. I agree with you. There's also the argument, you shouldn't be speeding. Hey, that's fine and good, but let us who want to speed get in the left lane. I think Wisconsin should adopt a law very similar to Florida. And also Indiana, too. I'm pretty certain has something similar to the effect on the books. But one thing that also really frustrates me is if there is a police officer, whether it's a cop, county sheriff, or, the Wisconsin State Patrol, they're doing the same thing, but they're sitting at, I drive from Kenosha to work to Bayview every day, and just sitting in the left lane, doing 77, 78. Nobody wants to pass them, of course, because they're afraid they're going to get pulled over. So
yeah, right. Well, exactly.
It affects everyone.
It does. No, thanks for the call. And again, one of our texters said, well, first you complain about people driving 100 miles an hour. Now you're complaining about driving too slow. Yes. Whatever happened to? And again, if you want to crawl, if you want to drive 5 or 10 miles below the speed limit, that's okay. My only point is then do it in the right lane so people who want to drive the posted speed can drive the posted speed and they can pass you and they can get where you're going instead of somebody who arrogantly decides that they want to start a parade. Now, so if your question is, would you rather have somebody driving 10 miles below the speed limit or 50 miles above the speed limit? Well, yeah, I guess in that scenario, I'd rather have them in the left lane driving below the speed limit. But whatever happened to the idea of just if you want to pass, you be in the left. If you want to not pass, be in the right. I refuse to accept this notion that, if you don't like people driving 10 miles below the speed limit in the left lane, that means you must want them to drive 50 miles an hour over the speed limit. No, I want people to drive, for goodness sakes. Jim in Appleton. Jim, you're on WTMJ. Good afternoon.
Hey, Jeff. Good afternoon. I see this all the time on a highway, especially when they're like flying formation, 2 lanes, and then you go past the state trooper like the other caller said, and they just sit and watch it. If they would just start enforcing slower traffic, keep right, I think it might help in this matter. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, no, thanks. Right. Well, exactly. I mean, that's the whole, and you shouldn't, I guess I look at this and think, You shouldn't need a law to do this. One of our texters say, Jeff, I agree with you 100%. At least if you want to drive in the left lane, watch your rearview mirror and move over when people come up behind and then move back when they pass, I guess. Well, I guess my general response would be, if you want to drive slowly, drive in the right lane. But all right, I accept that. If there's no traffic around and you're not blocking stuff, all right, then if you want to lollygag down in the left lane, that's cool with me. But then get out of the way when people are coming by. And I say, like this morning driving in, it's like a parade. And I had plenty of time. I'm not necessarily in a hurry, but I'm just thinking, are these people just completely clueless that they're doing this, or are they doing it because, I don't know, they don't feel comfortable driving over 28 miles an hour, in which case that is an issue? Or are they doing it because they enjoy seeing how many cars they can back up behind them? And I will tell you, the two people I saw today doing this process, the left lane lollygaggers, they were doing a great job of backing up traffic. I feel bad if people needed to get to work in a timely fashion. Kurt in Milwaukee. Kurt, you're on WTMJ. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Yeah, you hit my hot spot, that's for sure. But I think in general, and I kind of chuckle at, when the DOT kicks around adding lanes like they did 94 West, until you start getting people to realize the left lane is for passing and then move over. Mm-hmm. You can add 2 lanes in each direction, and you're still going to have the backup traffic that everybody encounters daily.
Yeah, it's right. It's right. As long as people are clogging those lanes, and I mean, I understand some people might say, well, I'm driving 55, that's the speed limit. Well, okay, but you don't need to drive 55 in what we understand to be the passing lane. Get over and let the police worry about it. If somebody's driving, too fast, they'll pull them over. They'll deal with it. It's not your job to be the blocker, for goodness sakes. Yeah, thanks for the call. Appreciate it. Again, it's just one of these minor sort of things, and I acknowledge that, but it's like, come on, let's figure out part of this, I understand where some of the road rage stuff comes from. Now, I'm not an endorser of road rage, and I'm the guy that talks about how you need to pull these things over, but I understand why, if we all would just drive in a responsible sort of fashion, then all these kind of issues end up going away. And some people are texting me with like these weird scenarios where it might make sense to drive in the left lane. Look, I understand that there might be situations where, for example, the right lane is going to disappear or things like that. I get it, but that's not what I was dealing with today. I was dealing with somebody who was cruising, 5-10 miles an hour below the speed limit in the left lane when they had a chance to move over to the right lane, but they were just not doing it. Left lane lollygaggers, get out of the way. Back with more in just a minute. This is Jeff Wagner.
Stick around. Jeff Wagner is right around the corner.
Vince Vitrano here from Wisconsin's Morning News, here to tell you for the first time ever, you can download our show wherever you get your podcasts. Apple, Spotify, wherever you listen, you can listen to us now too. Listen time and time again to your favorite segments like Super Plow, The Legend of Sean Wendt.
So I got on the phone and I called Sean Wendt. I said, Sean, I need some help.
Fake promos. And more.
Why, in all that is holy, is that not?
Why isn't that the problem?
That's a great question. Keep up with us on Wisconsin's Morning News wherever you get your podcasts.
All right, everyone. Merle the Squirrel is breaking down what you need to know about Capital's duct cleaning service. Take it away, Merle.
What did he say?
That's key, Merle. That is key. Okay, Merle's dropping truth bombs today. Any questions?
We can't understand him, boss.
You didn't hear him just say how important it is to hire Capital because we clean your ducts with our high-powered trucks and not glorified shop vacs?
No.
Nope.
Or how, if you hadn't had a duct cleaning in 5 years, it's time to stop breathing all those particulates into your lungs?
That's all true, but it sounded like he said me.
Yeah, don't make fun of the way Merle talks, guys.
Jason, may I suggest he talks just fine, but not in English.
What? I think your English is great, Merle. Look, here's the point. Nobody cleans your ducts like Capital. Right, and you deserve to breathe clean, healthy air in your home.
Absolutely. Helps with your allergies, removes bacteria.
Now you're just repeating what Merle said.
Schedule your Capital duct cleaning today online at callcapitalcares.com.
WTMJ's Vince Vitrano here. According to a Career Builder survey, the average cost of a bad hire is $50,000. You can't afford to make a mistake. Let LAK Group help you in your recruiting efforts. Their proprietary recruiting process fuses expertise, resources, and technologies with your needs and identifies strategies and solutions that boost your company's productivity. Let LAK Group's executive recruiting services help you find great candidates. Visit transformingcareers.com. LAK Group, discover your human advantage.
Wealth-changing question. Is your advisor giving you incomplete advice? Besides investing, there's also taxes, insurance, estate planning, and other elements that can be stressful to organize. At Creative Planning, we provide all the expertise, all the advice you need, all in-house, ensuring every aspect of your wealth works harder together so you can enjoy your wealth instead of worrying about it. Book your free meeting today at creativeplanning.com. Creative Planning, a richer way to wealth.
Welcome back to Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
This is interesting. For those of you who are not Catholic, or maybe even for some of you who are Catholic, today is what's called the Solemnity of the Most Sacred Heart of Jesus. It is a feast day in the Catholic Church meant for the faithful to reflect on God's love for mankind. All right? I bring this up because it is also Pride Night in Los Angeles. We have talked about this before. Baseball teams all across Major League Baseball, because June is Pride Month, and as a way of outreach to the gay and lesbian community, LGBTQ community, they're having nights like that where they reach out to the community and they have some special activities. And candidly, I mean, it's again a way that they do outreach to the community, but also it's a way to help them kind of like goose ticket sales for a particular night. No problem with any of that. The Los Angeles Dodgers find themselves, and we've talked about this before, in a lot of hot water because as part of their Pride Night festivities, which is going on tonight, they have decided to honor a San Francisco-based group called the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, and they're going to get a Community Hero Award. The Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence is a group of primarily male, but not exclusively men, who dress up as nuns, in face paint and things like that, and they do good works in the community, but they also do skits to generally mock and ridicule the Catholic religion. So that's the nature of it. It's a very in-your-face kind of avant-garde group, which does, in addition to doing these type of shows, they also do good things into the community. Well, the Los Angeles Dodgers thought it was a good idea of all the different groups that you could find to recognize on Pride Night. They decided to pick what I think is arguably one of the most controversial groups that they could find. And so they said, we're going to give you the award. Then what happened is there was this huge backlash. So then they said, okay, well, we're not going to give them an award. Then there was a backlash to the backlash. And they said, well, never mind, we're going to give them an award. And that's where it stands. There are apparently demonstrations that are supposed to be scheduled today, marches and things like that, protesting the Dodgers' decision to, again, reverse themselves and this time give the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence this Community Hero Award. To me, and again, I have no issues at all with Pride Night. I get why they do it. I think it's a worthwhile thing. It is mind-boggling to me how some of these organizations, though, just embroil themselves in controversy, because my guess is you could find 1,000 worthwhile organizations that help the LGBT community that you could give a Community Hero Award to that would be equally, if not more deserving than the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, a group that exists to mock, in many serious, significant factors, people of faith, particularly Catholics. It's kind of like, what were you thinking when you decided to give this award in the first place? How many people turn out to protest? I guess time will tell, but that's all going to be going on tonight. And it's another one of these examples where I think sometimes these marketing directors at businesses, and the Dodgers are a business, sometimes somebody needs to say, okay, why are we picking this group as opposed to all the other universe of groups that we could pick, none of whom would be controversial, but no, we're going to give this award to the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence. I guess we're going to find out tonight what impact, if any, that has. WTMJ breaking news time is 12:30 p.m. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, here's Connie Weber.
Thanks, Jeff. An 8-year-old boy, one of the two victims, killed in a small plane crash in Watertown earlier this week. In a letter to parents, the principal of Summit View Elementary in Waukesha identified the boy as Colin Strebe. Plane crashed at Brant Quick Park on Carriage Hill Drive on Wednesday. The pilot's identity has not been released. Heat wave expected to sweep across the southeast this weekend. National Weather Service says record-breaking heat index temperatures are possible from Texas to Florida over the Juneteenth holidays. They warn the feels-like temperature, factoring in humidity, could reach 115 in cities like Dallas and Houston. Consumers expected to spend roughly $23 billion on Father's Day gifts. The amount is $3 billion more than last year's total, according to the National Retail Federation, and is a record high. About 3/4 of U.S. adults expected to celebrate the holiday. Milwaukee Public School students setting another record for the total amount of scholarship and grants awarded to seniors heading off to college in the fall. The class of 2023 earned a total of $121 million collectively. MPS says students are attending schools in Milwaukee, across Wisconsin, out of state, and 2 attending international universities. Time for news about your money and the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. The Dow is up 54 points, the S&P 500 up 6, and the Nasdaq Composite is down 16. Get on track with investment and retirement planning. Visit annexwealth.com and click the Get Started button today. Taking a look now at your roads with your Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver traffic. Still smooth sailing out there. 94 westbound from downtown to the Zoo. It's about a 6-minute drive. The Zoo to Highway 16 running about 10. 4145 southbound from Highway Q to the Zoo interchange about 14. And 43 from downtown to Brown Deer Road running about 10 this afternoon.
Traffic is sponsored by Hall Mazda Milwaukee. Visit hallmazdamilwaukee.com.
While you're navigating the roads as quickly and safely as possible, if you see something we should know about, call the WTMJ Hall Mazda Traffic Tip Line at 414-238-9329.
Your WTMJ 5-day forecast: decreasing cloudiness today. It'll be hazy, highs 68 to 75. Clear tonight, low 53. And mostly sunny tomorrow, highs 77 to 81. Sunday, partly cloudy, highs 78 to 83. Monday, partly sunny, highs lakeside 79, 88 inland. And Tuesday, just a notch higher, mostly sunny with a high 80, lakeside 89 inland. Right now in Kenosha, we're at 58 degrees, 60 in Milwaukee. I'm Connie Weber, Sighting Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 12:33.
I'm Jeff Wagner. Coming up next, lions and tigers and Nazis, oh my. I'll explain, we'll discuss.
Don't go anywhere. Jeff Wagner is back right after this.
Wisconsin weather can put a damper on things, but don't let it ruin your outdoor plans. Sister Bay Furniture is furniture built in Wisconsin for Wisconsin. Built from premium, sustainable materials, Sister Bay Furniture endures the grueling conditions of Wisconsin weather. That's commercial-grade quality for your outdoor space. Stop by their showroom today, located out in Sussex on Executive Drive, or visit their website today at sisterbayfurniture.com. Sister Bay Furniture, built in Wisconsin for Wisconsin.
Jump into summer fun when the Brewers take on the Pirates Friday, June 16th through Sunday the 18th. Start the adventure on Indiana Jones Day on the 17th and get a Craig Council bobble with a theme night ticket. Then take home a Brewers bucket hat giveaway for the first 10,000 fans ages 21 and up on Father's Day, Sunday the 18th. Presented by Miller Lite. Get your seats at brewers.com.
When a new baby is added to the mix, saving money becomes a real priority. Shopping at St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores can help. With an abundance of baby clothing and toys, all thrift store priced at pennies on the dollar. You'll spend a little to get a lot. Find great deals on gently used baby clothes and toys at St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores on Highway 100 in Layton and Greenfield and 23rd and Lincoln in Milwaukee.
Ooh, you're gonna love it, St. Vincent de Paul.
Find Dad's Day deals that won't be beat this Father's Day at Fleet Farm. This week, take 25% off select Under Armour apparel and footwear for the family. Or get a Bighorn Greystone pellet grill for just $279.99. Plus, if you find a lower price, we'll match it. We have what you need for everyday life at new, lower prices. Fleet Farm.
Welcome back to Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
There is a genuinely peculiar piece in today's local newspaper And I confess I'm not quite sure the point of it, but there is an implication that I wanted to discuss with you. That the headline is WW2, World War II, reenactments draw dozens in Nazi uniforms and one Jewish educator working to make sure the Holocaust is remembered. Here's the first part of it. On a bright Saturday morning in rural Ozaukee County, this would be a couple weeks ago, Allison Hayden taped a poster to a bulletin board at the entrance to a 19th century cabin. Remember, it read stark white text against a black background. On the poster was the famous photograph of a young boy with his arms in the air, a German soldier pointing a machine gun at him as troops marched Jews from the Warsaw Ghetto to trains bound for death camps. Hayden was starting her day at a World War II reenactment event in Saukville, where history enthusiasts dress up not just as American soldiers, but Germans too. The swastikas on their uniforms, unmistakable. The soldier reenactors tell curious visitors about their historically accurate boots and guns and which battles their units fought in. And then it goes on to talk about how, but they don't talk about the Holocaust, so that's where this person, is there to explain, in essence, perhaps for people who don't know, why one of the big reasons why World War II was in fact fought. But the article goes on to question a number of these reenactors who are showing up at these reenactments in Nazi uniforms. Now, let's back up for a second. For those of you who aren't familiar with this, there are a number of historical people who are very interested in history who will do reenactments. A lot of reenactments involve the Civil War, for example. And so what will happen is you have a group of these enthusiasts, and what will happen is they will come out to a particular site, and they have period authentic uniforms. And some will be, for example, in the Civil War, some will represent the North, and some will represent the South. And they'll camp out, and what they will do is over a day or two on a weekend, they will reenact a battle that was fought during the Civil War, during the Revolutionary War, during World War II. Now, in order to have a reenactment battle, you need, by definition, you need two sides, right? You need to have the British soldiers. You need to have, the George Washingtons. You need to have the colonials. If you're going to have a Civil War reenactment, you need to, again, have the North, you need to have the South, right? Otherwise, there's not going to be much of a battle reenactment. And similarly, if you are going to do a World War II reenactment, you need the good guys, you need the Allies, and you need the bad guys, the Nazi army. And it's interesting because, again, I kind of wrestle with what the point of this lengthy story is. It's one thing to say, okay, well, we also, need to educate people about, the horrors of the Holocaust and things like that. But there's this kind of implication that the people who are the reenactors should somehow, I don't know, if they show up in period authentic German uniforms, that they should somehow, I don't know, feel guilty. So they interview a couple people, one from Johnson Creek, one guy from Kaukauna. Both are former soldiers with the U.S. Army. They were portraying the elite Grossdeutschland unit. And then the question is, well, why play a German soldier? And one of the guys says, well, somebody's got to be the bad guy. Everybody does Americans. It's nothing political. He said it's just in some respects more interesting to portray a German soldier. And the reporter says, well, do you think much about the Holocaust or the Jewish experience? And they say, well, okay, for this purpose, it's not something we're focused on. Our goal is to depict the German army in battle and at camps. And so then it goes on to say that others portraying Germans declined to give their name or talk about it, saying the optics could be harmful if a friend or boss learned they dressed up as a Nazi. All right, I stopped it, and this is what I want to discuss with you because, by the way, there's another World War II reenactment that's going to be taking place, I think, in the very, very near future in Menominee Falls, I believe. Got to check the exact date on that. But these reenactors come out, and sometimes you've got the German army, sometimes you've got the American army, sometimes you've got the North, sometimes you've got the South. But the implication of this is that there's something wrong if these reenactors are portraying, in this case, they're representing the German army at a reenactment. And that somehow that's, I don't know, an implied endorsement of the Holocaust or something like this. Our number is 855-616-1620. That is the Old National Bank talk and text line. Now, I mean, obviously, there was a reason why we fought World War II, and obviously we were on the side of the angels, and anybody who has ever, spent time in Europe and, seen a lot of the horrors of the Holocaust cannot help but be appalled that, we lived in that very, very dark period of time. But I guess my question is, now, 2023, 90 plus years, later, my question becomes, 80 to 90 plus years later, my question becomes, should we not do these reenactments? Is it in poor taste? Is it disrespectful to, reenact a battle, knowing that if you're going to do it, like I say, you've got to have both sides? Should these people who were playing, the German soldiers with the authentic, uniforms and things like that, should they really, I don't know, feel embarrassed because of the bad optics if they were out dressed up like a Nazi for the purpose of this reenactment? 855-616-1620. Is it time to just say, okay, maybe no more reenactments anymore because you can't show up dressed as a Confederate soldier? How dare you show up as, a British soldier? How dare you show up as, in this case, a Nazi or an Italian soldier for the purpose of this reenactment? 855-616-1620. We discuss.
Don't go anywhere. Jeff Wagner is back right after this.
You like to move it! At the United States Postal Service, we're reinventing our network to help keep your business moving. With new shipping options to deliver better value, greater flexibility to conveniently reach your customers, more confident shipping with new informed delivery features, and new electric vehicles for a cleaner, brighter future. Fast, reliable, perfectly orchestrated. The United States Postal Service, delivering for America. Learn more at USPS.com/moving forward.
Turn your home into restricted airspace. Tell incoming flights you want them diverted. The new Raid Essentials Light Trap plugs into the wall and uses light to attract, then trap flying insects like fruit flies and mosquitoes. Its 24/7 continuous attraction provides insecticide-free protection that's people and pet friendly. Consider air service interrupted. New Raid Essentials Light Trap. Insecticide-free protection.
Rose Gray from Fox World Travel inviting you to join us and explore the world in style in 2024. Our Fox Group vacations have been announced, and these are truly one-of-a-kind, immersive experiences. Travel in style and luxury as you explore, make memories, and develop friendships along your journey. Whether you are looking to explore Europe, Hawaii, Asia, Egypt, or Alaska, by land, ocean, or river, our award-winning Fox Group vacation experts have handcrafted exclusive experiences for people seeking to explore the world. Visit foxworldtravel.com where you can get all the details. We've partnered with the best of the best tour and cruise companies, including Insight Vacations, Globus, Avalon Waterways, Uniworld, and Holland America, to design these incredible itineraries, and they are only available at Fox World Travel. Visit foxworldtravel.com to see our Fox Group Vacations collection or call a travel advisor to learn more. Join us and make memories to last a lifetime. We look forward to exploring the world with you.
Siding Unlimited named the best window installers, not just here, but in the whole USA. Get the best. Siding Unlimited, 3-time winner as America's best window installer. For windows, you call Siding Unlimited first and directly. SidingUnlimited.com.
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
Winning isn't everything. It's the only thing. I always thought Vince Lombardi came up with that famous sports nugget, but it turns out he borrowed it from a college coach. And now I'm going to borrow it too, because when there are 10 or 20 offers on a property, there's only one winner. In today's inventory-starved real estate market, you need a Lombardi-level mortgage coach, one who has all the best plays in the playbook. Going with your bank for your pre-approval is like playing in a professional playoff game with the JV coach at the helm. The Lombardi-level coaches at AccuNet are called senior loan consultants, and each one has been trained by me to help you and your real estate agent work as one team to deliver the one and only thing that matters, winning. So if you've been losing with your flimsy bank pre-approval, trade up today to a rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval and a Lombardi-level game plan. And if you're just getting started, why not start with the best? Click on the blue button today and get started with your winning game plan at accunet.com.
Welcome back to Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
My understanding, and I don't have all the details about this, but my understanding is this weekend in Menominee Falls, Old Falls Village, they're doing a World War II Days special for reenactors where they stage battles. They did this in Saukville through the Ozaukee County Historical Society last month, and these reenactments, this is World War II, so they stage battles. People go and you can watch this, and then you can talk to the reenactors who show up in period-specific uniforms. And the Journal Sentinel has this really, I think it's a peculiar story or a peculiar spin, talking about how there's a lady that goes out and she wants to educate people on the Holocaust and the horrors of all that. And that's an outstanding mission. But the implication then, they go on to question the people, the reenactors who are showing up in the German army uniforms. And it's like, well, how do you feel about portraying a Nazi and all this? And shouldn't you feel guilty about this? As if portraying a Nazi as a reenactor is an endorsement of Nazi principles. And I guess my question is, have we now gotten to this point where we can't do these reenactments? We can't have a Civil War reenactment anymore, because if you're going to reenact a battle, you've got to have the North and you've got to have the South. So if you play a Confederate soldier, does that mean that you're an endorser of the Confederacy? 855-616-1620. Let's start with Chris in Cedarburg. Chris, hello.
Hi, good afternoon. This is very peculiar. This is just bizarre to me because, I've been to several reenactments. And first of all, the uniforms and the artifacts that they have are amazing. Mm-hmm. I mean, most of them are museum quality uniforms and motorcycles and,
right.
It's such an education. And it's just sad that if some people aren't reading books and understanding history, you can go there and you can learn so much. And also, in Germany, they lost their boys and girls, women, nurses, just like we lost ours. So, and nobody complains when they're having a brat and sauerkraut and beer about this. But when, you go there and then it's suddenly, a situation. It's so educational, and it's factual.
Well,
talk to the people.
Well, right. It's kind of like, I wonder, how do we feel when we have a movie about World War II, for example? Can actors
Correct.
no longer play German soldiers, or can they no longer play Nazis? Because that's the problem. It's this, okay, these reenactors are not Nazis. The reenactors are people who are portraying, German soldiers for the purpose of educating people about history. And I don't think they should be appalled.
Right, all week long they have normal jobs like you and I,
yeah.
And then this is what they do on their weekend,
right?
And I've seen some Civil War reenactments and this type of reenactment, but if people go there with an open mind and like I said, God.
Right. No, I'm with you, Chris. No.
Too.
Right. No, thanks for the call, Chris. Again, this idea, and my guess is, now I do not know this for sure because I am not a reenactor myself, but my guess is that a lot of these reenactors, maybe sometimes they'll be the German soldier. Maybe other times they'll play, a British soldier or a U.S. soldier. Depending on what their collection is and things like this. But like one of the reenactors says, okay, it's everybody wants to be the Allies. If you're going to have this, you need to have those of us who portray the German soldiers. It's not like it's an endorsement of the Nazi ideology. Is it? Matt, who's calling us from the road. Matt, good afternoon.
Hi, Jeff. I was a reenactor back in the 90s, and I portrayed a German soldier. And I can guarantee none of us in the unit that I was in were not Nazis.
Right, yeah.
And if we found out anybody harbored those feelings or anything, they'd be kicked out instantly because that was just it looked real bad.
Well, Matt, explain what was it that got you into into reenactments in the first place, and why did you choose to be a German soldier?
I always had an interest in World War II, and it was something about the German equipment and their vehicles and things that got me interested. And when I found out about they were reenactment groups, that's what got me to join a German unit. And so that's what got me interested in the German side of it.
Yeah.
It
wasn't.
Somebody has to be the enemy.
Well, yeah. Thanks for the call. That's exactly right. I mean, somebody has to be the enemy if you're going to have a reenactment of the Battle of Gettysburg. All right, you have to have the North and you have to have the South, and you have to portray these people. It's people that are playing a role, not. Well, I mean, I don't want to equate it necessarily to the people in movies and TV shows that play, Confederate soldiers or, British soldiers or Nazis or whatever, because in this case, I think a lot of them are history buffs, and that's kind of what Matt was there. I'm interested. I was interested in the motorcycles. I was interested in the weaponry. I was interested in the trucks and things like that. And so I kind of gravitated towards that. It's not a defense of the ideology. It's a role you are playing. And by the way, I think it's one of those kind of educational things. I would imagine that it's kind of fascinating. Okay, we see so much from the American side, how the American military was equipped or things like that, from the perspective of somebody who believes you learn from history and also, values the lessons of history. Maybe it might be more interesting, at least more educational, to see, okay, this is how the German soldier was equipped or something like that. Sheldon in Menominee Falls. Sheldon, you're on WTMJ. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Jeff. So this is one of those issues where people confuse fantasy with reality. These people portray a character doesn't mean they are that character.
Yeah.
If you put a cape on and put an S on your chest, it doesn't mean you're from Krypton. You got to have a reality check.
Yeah, exactly. And if you go into these things with hey, I'm coming to this reenactment because I want to see what it was like. I wasn't alive during World War II. I want to try to see what the uniforms looked like and maybe what some of the tactics the German army used or the Americans used or whatever. And I'm going to watch it and I'm going to try to view it as an educational experience. And yes, part of that educational experience is about World War II, is learning about the Holocaust, not diminishing any of that. But these reenactors, I don't think it's their role necessarily to educate people about the Holocaust. At this reenactment, their role is they're a German soldier. That's what they're playing.
But you also have touched on this in your pop culture corner. Could you imagine a day trying to pitch the show Hogan's Heroes?
Oh yeah, well that's right.
No comedy. That's Germany. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, no, Sheldon. Well, I'll tell you the truth is too, that even back in the day when they pitched Hogan's Heroes, I've read some of this. I mean, a lot of the executives were like, okay, you're going to set this in a Nazi prisoner of war camp. Are you out of your mind? Let's talk to Alan in Cedarburg. Alan, you're on WTMJ.
Yes, good afternoon. I'm on the board of the Ozaki Historical Society, who actually puts on that reenactment at Pioneer Village. And we're, as you've indicated, a little disappointed in that reporter because I don't think his message is that of any other attendee of that event. We've been doing this for 8 years now. We police that event very closely to make sure that swastikas and Nazi messages don't ever exist there. We have a school day before the event on Friday. We put about 300 high school and grade school kids through there. We've never heard a single complaint about the overplay of the Nazi part of it.
Right.
As some of the other callers have said, it's living history. These reenactors often play different Allied soldiers and airmen. We have USO people out there. And then the addition of the young lady putting on the Holocaust thing started 3 years ago, and we think it's a great addition to this whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the perspective to take. I mean, you want to give people a broad range of education, but you, I guess, at its heart, Alan, you can't do historical battle reenactments unless you have both sides. That's just the reality. So, I don't think
exactly.
I can't believe anybody. I did think this when I saw this story. I thought it was a very, very odd take on what strikes me as a very interesting, educational, and popular, experience that you guys put together.
Absolutely, we have vehicles. We've had in the last couple of years the World War II veterans that show up are treated like rock stars among these reenactors. But we have Polish, we have Italian. Represent every European theater soldier group in there, not just the Germans, for sure.
Right. Does your group? I know that also in Saukville from time to time they've done Civil War reenactments. Is your group affiliated with that, or is this World War II?
We did Civil War for many years, and then Revolutionary War, and 7 years ago just decided to freshen it and do World War II.
Yep. Whether it's, like I've been saying, whether it's Civil War, you need the South. And the Revolutionary War, you need the British soldiers. And World War II, you need the German soldiers if you're going to have battle reenactments. Alan, thanks for all you do, and thanks for calling. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.
Right. It's a weird... It's the journal reporter is Sophie Carson, and it's a weird story because at least the implication of this is these reenactors should somehow, I don't know, they should keep their names to themselves and all because, I mean, don't we understand how horrible, the Nazis were and how horrible the Holocaust was? Well, yeah, I'm with all that. Believe me, I understand all that. If you're ever in Amsterdam, go through the Anne Frank house. My goodness, I mean, it just really drives that home. But, okay, reenactments are not endorsements. Back with much more in just a couple minutes. This is Jeff Wagner, WTMJ.
Don't go anywhere. Jeff Wagner is back right after this on WTMJ.
The calendar has finally turned. The sun is out, and now it's time to finally celebrate. Summerfest is back. Tune in right here on WTMJ and during the festival. Visit Jeff Wagner and Wisconsin's Afternoon News in the Pella Windows and Doors mobile studio at the Gruber Law Office's Sports Zone down at Summerfest. We are the home of your Summerfest fun. 620 WTMJ.
I'm Randy Miller.
No, you're not. I'm Randy Miller, owner of All Right Home and Remodeling.
I'm DJ.
Someday you might be the owner of All Right.
Like you and Daddy?
You'll have to learn that our family business is about more than just our family.
Do it right, call All Right.
Yes, but doing things right also means giving back.
When you want it all right, you call All Right. All Right, so many miles away.
This is Matt Meitner, owner of Sit Means Sit Dog Training. Do you find yourself talking to your dog but feel like she's not listening to you?
Bella, sit!
Are you constantly repeating yourself but she's not following your directions?
Sit! Sit!
Frustrating, isn't it? At Sit Means Sit Dog Training, we want to help you have a happy, confident, and obedient dog, and we also want to make the training process an enjoyable and worthwhile experience. Contact Sit Means Sit today to schedule a free consultation so we can create a customized training program so you are able to have the dog you want and deserve.
Sit Means Sit Dog Training. Sorry, we don't train husbands, wives, or kids.
Ask your advisor, are you 100% fee only for 100% of your clients 100% of the time? If they answer no, get a second opinion.
Financial strategies, what's the way to build your wealth?
FinancialStrategiesInc.com.
Alleviate your pain, rejuvenate your life.
So when you're in a pain spiral, will stem cells or bone marrow harvested from your body and then placed back into your body get you out of it? For those willing to go through a very expensive and not exactly easy process, which is not FDA approved, it might. But for those not willing to pay exorbitant amounts to go through all that, especially knowing that pain relief is not a sure thing, it's not an option. At Rejuvenex, we inject powerful, FDA-approved treatments that reduce inflammation and pain while improving mobility in hips, shoulders, elbows, and knees. With some patients experiencing relief for greater than 2 years before repeating the process. I'm Richard Salinas, registered nurse with Rejuvenex Arthritis Pain Clinics, and we are in network with most major insurance plans, including Medicare and Medicaid. We can alleviate your pain, and that'll rejuvenate your life. It's pain relief, really.
Rejuvenex. Alleviate your pain. Rejuvenate your life.
Go to rejuvenex.com to request your appointment.
What if you could build a six-figure retirement income with almost half the money saved? You heard that right. Get a discount on your retirement, creating a six-figure income with 40% less than traditional 401ks and mutual funds. Hi, I'm Mitch Lyons, best-selling author and executive producer of a new Hollywood documentary called The Baby Boomer Dilemma. In this film, economists and Nobel Prize-winning PhDs from Wharton, MIT, and Stanford share a strange concept I call the retirement discount. It gives you more retirement income with the same dollar saved, and your money is never at risk if the market crashes. That's right. If the market crashes 30%, you lose nothing. Even people who are on track have shifted money to this new strategy because it increases their retirement income or can allow them to stop working years sooner. So if you are over 50 and want a bigger, better retirement with less money, call to get a free copy of this brand new movie, 1-800-578-3535. This is a $30 value, but when you call today, you get it completely free, plus 2 hours of bonus behind-the-scenes footage. No credit card required. Call right now. 1-800-578-3535. That's 1-800-578-3535. Again, 1-800-578-3535.
Heard it work? Contact Tayback for the payback. Go to TaybackAttorneys.com.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
Do what you want, because a pirate is free. You are a pirate.
All right, you can stop swinging your sword. Our coverage of the Pirates' invasion of Milwaukee starts at 6 with Brewers warm-up. We are the home of the Brewers. News Radio 620, WTMJ, Milwaukee.
102, we have 60 degrees, decreasing cloudiness today. Hazy with a high 68 to 75 from the WTMJ Breaking News Center. I'm Connie Weber. A Milwaukee County Board member recovering after he was attacked at Mayfair Mall earlier this week. Supervisor Pete Bergelis tells TMJ4 News he was sucker punched and called a homophobic slur when he was hit. Bergelis is openly gay. Wauwatosa police say the incident was over a parking issue that had happened earlier. The supervisor will need surgery due to his injuries. A person of interest has been identified. Man behind the Tree of Life Synagogue massacre has been found guilty. The 50-year-old male shooter on trial for the deaths of 11 congregation members at the Pittsburgh Synagogue in 2018. He was charged with multiple murder and hate crimes in what's being called the deadliest anti-Semitic attack in U.S. history. Mayor Cavalier Johnson's been promoting the benefits of the shared revenue plan recently approved by the state legislature. Now the Common Council has to approve the measure by a two-thirds majority in order for the city to increase its sales tax. Some aldermen have been critical of the plan, but Mayor Johnson tells 101.7 The Truth.
The very best that we could do. Even though we fought back and got some revisions, the Republicans wanted to have even more stringent provisions in this, but we're able to get some of those removed.
The plan will include a 2% increase in sales tax in the city of Milwaukee and a 4% increase in Milwaukee County. If you buy a hamburger in Whitefish Bay, it'll cost 4.4% more. Same hamburger bought in downtown Milwaukee will be 2.4% more expensive because of the ordinance. Those extra funds will go toward first responders and other public services. Supreme Court still has not issued rulings on two major issues, decisions on cases involving affirmative action and President Biden's student loan debt relief plan were not included in today's release of opinions. Two cases involving Harvard and the University of North Carolina will determine if race can be used as a factor in college admissions. 55th Annual Summerfest kicks off next weekend. Don Smiley, Summerfest CEO and president since 2004, recently announced his retirement from the festival. Smiley tells WTMJ that festival's been a part of his life for decades.
I was back here in the summertime visiting. If at the same time Summerfest was going on, we would jump up here and have a good time. So yeah, Summerfest has been in my life in one way or another for a very long time, and it's been a pure joy.
Smiley leaves behind a legacy of nearly 20 years at Summerfest. Newly elected executive Sarah Pancheri will transition to the role of president at the end of 2023. Smiley joins WTMJ's Sandy Max on WTMJ Conversations, 11 a.m. on Sunday. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Citing Unlimited, WTMJ News Time 105.
Kessler's is famous.
Nationwide. For diamond engagement rings.
But what most people don't know
is that Kessler's is equally amazing at wedding bands.
Engagement rings come in thousands of styles.
But not all engagement rings come with a matching wedding band.
No problem.
No problem. No problem.
You heard the part about equally amazing wedding bands, right?
That's real. We are amazing at wedding bands. We have a wedding band that is going to look fantastic. Fantabulous. Incomprehensibly good. With your engagement ring.
It's going to look really good.
Ricky.
I prefer Rick.
You need to work with us. Yeah, Ricky. Work with us.
Seriously, you're going to be extremely happy with what you find at Kessler's. Our sales associates are good at helping you find the perfect wedding band.
Much better, Ricky.
I prefer Rick.
Yeah, Ricky. Much better. Welcome to Kessler's.
To find the Kessler's nearest you, visit Kessler'sDiamonds.com.
Hey, it's Father's Day weekend. WTMJ's John Mercure here. Show your dad and grandfather your love and appreciation. Take them to the historic Fox and Hounds restaurant for a free world-class dinner. Buy one dinner, get one free. Even on Father's Day weekend. How great is that? Your dad can order his favorite steak, ribs, seafood, anything on the menu. The second dinner is free. And desserts. Buy one, get one free. The Father's Day buffet is fabulous. It's all your dad's favorite foods and all you can eat. Kids and grandkids under 3, well, they eat for free. The Fox and Hounds is tucked into the Kettle Moraine Forest. The setting is spectacular, a one-of-a-kind dining destination. Dad will love the beer garden. Check that out. Take your dad to the all-you-can-eat Friday codfish fry and just $15.99. All other dinners Friday are buy one, get one free. Fox and Hounds, just off Highway 167, 2 miles east of the beautiful Holy Hill Shrine. Honor your father this weekend. Reserve now. Visit foxandhoundsrestaurant.com. Maybe I'll see you there.
Time for a WTMJ Sports
Following
Update.
a day off, the Brewers begin a 6-game homestand tonight against the Pittsburgh Pirates. Milwaukee one half game back at Pittsburgh for first place in the NL Central. Coverage gets underway tonight following the 6 o'clock news on WTMJ. Brewers lefty pitcher Wade Miley expected to come off the injured list and start on Saturday. We are less than 1 week away from the NBA draft. The Bucks own just one selection, number 58 overall. And round 2 of the U.S. Open underway from Los Angeles Country Club. Wyndham Clark in the lead at 9 under par. Xander Schauffele and Ricky Fowler, yesterday's leaders, one shot off the pace at 8 under. Greg Matzik, WTMJ Sports.
Take a look at your roads with your Johnson & Sons paving time-saver traffic. That Friday light went away, at least on I-43 southbound. From Brown Deer Road to downtown right now, it's about a 37-minute delay. Usually it takes you about 11. There's a crash on I-43 south. The left lane is blocked, so you might look for an alternate in that route.
Traffic is sponsored
Your
by Annex Wealth Management. It's time to know the difference, and Annex Wealth Management is ready to help with investment, retirement, tax, and estate planning as a fee-only fiduciary partner. AnnexWealth.com. Click the Get Started button.
Your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Decreasing cloudiness today. Hazy. High 68 to 75. Clear tonight with a low 53. Sunny tomorrow. High 77 to 81. Partly cloudy on Sunday. High 78 to 83. Partly sunny Monday. 79 to 88. Tuesday will be warm. Mostly sunny with highs 80s lakeside, 89 inland. And right now in Madison, we are at 63 degrees, Green Bay 60 and 60 in Milwaukee. I'm Connie Weber. Siding Unlimited, WTMJ News Time 108.
Live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue, it's the Jeff Wagner Show. Now, here's WTMJ's Jeff Wagner.
Good afternoon, Wisconsin. Welcome back to the program. So very glad to have you with us. However you find us, quick reminder, if you missed some of the show, well, you can always go back, listen to our podcasts. They're available through WTMJ.com and also anywhere you get your podcasts, Spotify, Apple, iTunes, and I know a number of you do that. And as an added feature, if it's not just enough to listen to the program, you can also watch us. We've got cameras all over the studio nowadays, and you can simply go to WTMJ.com right now, hit the live stream, see a number of people. I get to see those numbers, number of people watching now, and also our YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube and put in WTMJ, and you'll see the broadcasts, and people go back and they watch those as well. So however you choose to find us, that's great. As long as we're talking about like weird spins on stories in the local newspaper, and I confess that the story about the reenactors I just thought was bizarre, and this implication that, well, okay, maybe these people who are portraying German soldiers should somehow feel guilty about this because they're not talking about the Holocaust. Here's a story out of the suburbs. Walmart is closing some stores, but in Waukesha County, it's putting more money into them. Let me share a portion of the story. In what seems like a contradiction in concept, keep that phrase in mind, the nation's largest retail store chain has presented two contrasting views of the future in recent years. On the one hand, as news spread that Walmart was closing some of its stores this year in places such as Northwest Milwaukee and Chicago, Walmart suddenly no longer seemed like a retail presence that would never recede because they're closing some stores. At least the recent closings raised one reasonable question. How does Walmart view the future of its 6 stores in Waukesha County, a suburban landscape that, while not as densely populated in Chicagoland, is known for urban centers as well as its open spaces? And then the story goes on to talk about how, Walmart has announced that they are closing, several stores in Chicago. In addition, they announced the closing of stores in Wisconsin. The one at Silver Spring has closed, and they've also shuttered other stores as well. So the question is, well, gee, is there some problem with Walmart? And that's kind of the implication of the story, because Walmart is closing some stores, but yet it appears that they are putting money into other stores. For example, it appears that they are expanding in certain efforts. The store in Pewaukee, they did upgrades that were completed in April. There's a similar effort that's going on in McGuanago right now to apparently expand the Walmart store there. And they're constructing all new, larger format stores to replace older, smaller stores in Waukesha and New Berlin. So it doesn't appear that Walmart is getting out of the business at all. It doesn't appear that Walmart is getting out of the business at all. What they're doing is they're putting money into, I don't know, stores in the suburbs or whatever, and they're closing other stores. Our number is 855-616-1620. That is the Old National Bank talk and text line. I guess I don't see this as anything that's a particularly controversial or hard to figure out decision. Walmart is a business. Walmart's business is selling stuff to people and making a profit. If you have stores in areas that are not profitable, either because, well, there's a lot of reasons. Maybe because people aren't shopping at the store. In the case of the Walmart that we were talking about in Silver Spring, one of the big stories, one of the big issues was that they had a huge problems with what they call shrinkage, which is another fancy word for shoplifting. They had a huge problem with theft. And if you have a huge problem with theft, and your business starts to go down, well, what's the decision? Well, you end up closing the store. I guess I'm looking at this and I'm saying this is pretty simple. Walmart is making a decision that any good business makes, which is, let's figure out, all right, where we can make money, and if it's a successful store or it's an area where we believe we can be successful, we're going to invest. We're going to build the stores. In contrast, if you've got an area where, again, for whatever reason, the stores are underperforming, we're getting out of business there. Our number is 855-616-1620. That is the Old National Bank talk and text line. It seems to me that this is self-evident. And a lot of people, there's a lot of pearl clutching over, Walmart is closing certain stores. Well, it's not anything to do with Walmart. Walmart is making business decisions. And if Walmart's indicators are, hey, we can make money by putting a ton of money into that store we've got out in Pewaukee because we think it's going to be successful and we think it's going to justify the increasing expense, they're going to do it. And if they look at a store like the one on Silver Spring and say, hey, we're not making money at this and we're getting robbed blind or whatever their calculations are, it's not surprising that they're going to close, is it? 855-616-1620. It's no big change, I think, in Walmart's philosophy. It's just, all right, we're looking at where we make money. Jeff in Menominee Falls. Jeff, you're on WTMJ.
Yeah, I think they're living the American dream. They're doing what's right. They're running a business to make a profit. And if more businesses did that, we wouldn't have to bail them out and spread the costs over everybody.
Well, right, and it's just, it only makes sense. I mean, Jeff, if you had a chain of gas stations, you've got Jeff's gas stations, and you've got 4 of them in southeastern Wisconsin, and 3 are making money, and 1 isn't for whatever reasons. After a while, you're going to close the one that's not making money and say, okay, maybe I'll try to find another location, or I'll take that money and reinvest it in the 3 I've got that are making money. It's not rocket science.
No, it's business profitability.
Right. No. Right. No. Thanks for calling. So I mean, why should we be surprised? Should we be shocked that Walmart is putting money into some of the stores in Waukesha County? Well, no. It's not rocket science. Why is Walmart doing it? Walmart is doing it because they think that this is going to be a successful sort of thing. There's been all these editorials in the Chicago Tribune. There's a lot of politicians. We had politicians in Milwaukee that were upset that Walmart was closing the one on Silver Spring. Oh, it's going to be a food desert and people need to be able to go there and shop. Same sort of politicians and the same sort of rhetoric that was coming when Walmart announced that it was going to close some of its Chicago stores. Well, okay, don't complain. And my comment to these politicians is, don't complain about Walmart. If Walmart could be successful there, they'd continue to be successful there. I mean, maybe to the politicians, what you need to do is look internally and address the whole fundamental question of, gee, why is this particular location not successful? And if part of that reason is, gee, we've got a crime problem in this particular area, or they're getting killed by shoplifting or whatever, maybe it's fair to ask, have we done enough? Why is it that these stores are targeted for shoplifting? And why is it that we're not doing a good enough job of getting people, off the streets and discouraging them from shoplifting? And I'm not a huge fan of Walmart, by the way. I'm not. But at the same time, it's not a surprising thing. It's not a stop the presses story that Walmart is closing some underperforming stores and they're plunking a bunch of money into, areas where they think that there's a growth potential. It only makes sense. Back with more in just a minute. This is Jeff Wagner, WTMJ.
Don't go anywhere. Jeff Wagner is back right after this.
Did you know just one blood donation can save up to 3 people's lives? Hi, WTMJ Sandy Max here. Please join me and our WTMJ Cares initiative to donate blood to those who need it the most. Join us on June 26th, 27th, and 28th as we partner with the American Red Cross and Gruber Law Offices for a blood drive at the Milwaukee County Zoo. Visit WTMJ.com or text BLOOD to 855-616-1620. You can make a difference with WTMJ Cares and me, Sandy Max.
Hey, boaters!
Inexperienced boaters are more than welcome here, because at Kendor Marine you'll find all the answers to your questions on parts, installation, troubleshooting, and the best part is, when we figure out what you need, we can grab it from our massive inventory of boat parts and supplies that no one around can match. I'm Dave Doro, and boaters in the know exactly where to go. Kendor Marine, 57th and Ryan Road in Franklin.
Hey, boaters! Cruise to Kendor Marine, we got everything you need but the water.
KendorMarine.com.
Hey, boaters!
Where else are you going to find weather stripping for a 77 Carver? That's what he said, and I don't know the answer to that one, but he sure was glad he found it here. I'm Dave Doro with Kendor Marine, and when it comes to boat parts and supplies, we have it all. If you're a boater and you need it, we got it. And that's why you got to get here. Boaters in the know exactly where to go. Kendor Marine, 57th and Ryan Road in Franklin.
Hey, boaters! Cruise to Kendor Marine, we got everything you need but the water.
KendorMarine.com.
When big national banks make a decision, it requires many emails, phone calls, and plenty of video conferences from around the globe. When we make a banking decision, we do it over a cup of coffee in our office. Finding a local bank that's passionate about the community and knows your name is hard to find these days.
Good morning, Diane. Welcome back.
The search is over.
Waterstone Bank, proud to be your local bank for over 100 years. Love your bank as much as we love this community. Waterstone Bank, Waukesha, Milwaukee, and Washington County.
Member FDIC.
An official message from Medicare. Don't let preventable diseases stop you from doing the things you love. Medicare Part D now covers all recommended vaccines, like tetanus and shingles, at no cost to you. That means you don't have to stop whipping up your favorite recipes or dusting off your guitar to show that rock stars never get old. Talk to your doctor about which vaccines are right for you so you can keep doing the things you love. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
You're listening to Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
One of our texters says, hey, you can wrap that whole segment up by saying, hey, if you don't want a Walmart to leave your neighborhood, don't steal from it. Yeah, there is something to that. My producer, Charlie, always fighting the battle to keep me on track, reminds me of something that I promised what we were going to do, and we're going to do it right now. Caller number 10, 855-616-1620. Caller 10 wins a 4-pack of tickets to Summerfest. It feels like summer, which means the big show is almost upon us. This week, every day this week, we've been giving away a 4-pack of tickets to Summerfest. Like I say, caller number 10, 855-616-1620 gets a 4-pack of tickets to Summerfest. Quick reminder, Summerfest starts next Thursday, and this year, as in the last year or so, Summerfest runs Thursday. Instead of, used to open on a Wednesday, take off, go through the weekend, take off on Monday, and then go Tuesday through Sunday. This year, as in the last couple years, it's only 9 days. So it's Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, 3 consecutive weekends. And the jury, I mean, I talked to, I have a number of friends on the Summerfest board. I have a number of friends who are instrumental in Summerfest. And, you know, we have these conversations. And I think the jury is still out. They're trying to figure out what works best, what's best for the organization, what's best for the fans, what's best for the vendors. And so this year, candidly, I think is going to be a pretty good test on all of those types of things. And I'm looking at least the weather forecast for the next 10 days or so. Looks like it's going to be pretty good because the truth of the matter is you can have, around here, you can have the best festival you want, best possible festival. But if the weather breaks bad on you, well, you know, people aren't going to come out to it. I mean, last weekend you had Polish Fest, and the first 2 days of Polish Fest, Friday and Saturday, they rocked it. Sunday, if you remember Sunday the weather was crummy. It was cold, it was rainy, and I mean, that Sunday really hurt them after having a good Friday and Saturday. So no matter, you're very, very weather dependent. But this year, at least the initial stage of Summerfest, it looks like the weather is going to be very good. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday for 3 weekends in a row. We will be broadcasting live. At least I'm going to be there each weekday, Thursday and Friday for those 3 weeks. The show will be originating from the lakefront, noon to 3. And even if you don't win the tickets, come on down. If you happen to be there, stop off and say hello. Love to see you. And Summerfest is always one of my very favorite events. This is Don Smiley, who I think Don and I would consider ourselves to be friends. I ran into Don at an event on Wednesday night. One of our traditions is he comes over to our mobile broadcast facility the first day of Summerfest, and we expect that we have a half-hour conversation or so. And this year we're going to talk about not just what's going on at Summerfest and not what's going on at the future of Summerfest, but also maybe look back a little bit because, as our reports have been saying, I mean, this is his last year as the CEO. He'll continue in an advisory capacity, I think, for a year or two, but or 3 after that. But I'm a huge fan of Summerfest. I think I think it's just a Milwaukee institution, and I think sometimes we neglect some of these institutions, but Summerfest 2023 kicks off next Thursday. Hope to see you there. There's a story out that, to me, and Charlie, we have our winner. We got our winner. Okay, got our winner. Congratulations to everybody who won our 4-pack of tickets all week. And even if you didn't win, come on down to Summerfest. By the way, first of all, I think Summerfest is a deal, but if you don't want to pay, full price for admission or things like that, just go to the Summerfest website. There's all sorts of ways that you can get in for free or at a discounted rate. The truth of the matter is, if you're not finding those, you're not looking. That's just kind of the reality of this. So if you don't want to pay full price, or you can't figure out a way to get free tickets from your employer or something like that, or friends or whatever, check it out. There's all sorts of ways you can get in by donating canned goods and things like that, different times of the day. So check that out. Okay, this story is, again, one of these, and I always try to look for the larger points. It's one of these stories that demonstrates how hard it is that once the government starts paying for something, how hard it is to get the government to stop paying for something. All right, so there's this program called Child Care Counts, and it started during COVID. It's a program called Child Care Counts, and what happened is it's essentially ways to help underwrite the cost of child care centers. And during COVID, during the pandemic, the federal government, which was like passing out all sorts of dollars that it did not have, they sent Wisconsin a whole bunch of money. And Tony Evers took $351 million in one-time COVID money that we got from the state and used it to keep this Child Care Counts program running. And again, it's child providers. I mean, what it is it helps underwrite the cost of daycare and things like that. All right, I'm not going to argue whether it's a worthwhile program or not, but it's been supported the last couple of years and through the end of this year with this one-time federal money. So now that money is gone. So what Democrats wanted is they wanted to say, well, okay, let's take another $340 million and let's spend it on keeping this program going. And the Joint Finance Committee took it out of the budget. And you've got a state senator, Kelda Royce, who's really, really far to the left out of Madison, saying, if you don't fund this program, I'm going to, quote, make it my mission to make sure it's the last thing that any of you ever get to cut, and I will find someone to replace you. So she's threatening these people. And, of course, that's par for the course for what you get out there. And they took the money out of the budget. But it's a classic example of we have this one-time money that comes federal government, fine, you apply it, but now that money is gone. Well, okay, we've now started this government program. How dare you discontinue the government program? Don't you think this is worthwhile? Well, it's not a question of whether it's worthwhile or not. It's a question of where is the money going to come from. And it again demonstrates that once you get some of these things started, and it's one of the reasons why you got to be careful about taking the federal money for one-time programs, because once that money pours in, there's going to be all sorts of people who will just assume that it is always going to be there, and it's your obligation to find it. And look, and I take no position on whether it's a worthwhile program or anything like that. I just use this to point out the whole story that you pay for something once because you get the federal money, and then there's this expectation that the sky is going to fall if suddenly we're not able to continue it. It's why once you get a government program started, it is so difficult, maybe almost impossible, to discontinue it. Back with more in just a minute. This is Jeff Wagner.
Stick around. Jeff Wagner is right around the corner. Had a rough week? Not to worry. Relax and join Jeff Wagner every Friday at 2:35 for Pop Culture Corner. Brought to you by Palermo's Pizza. Come tell us the best of the best in pop culture, and you could win a prize package from Palermo's.
What is the best movie sequel of all time? Your guilty pleasure on television? I've got a whole long list. Curious to hear from you.
It's Wagner's Pop Culture Corner. Fridays at 2:35 on WTMJ.
All right, everyone. Merle the Squirrel is breaking down what you need to know about Capital's duct cleaning service. Take it away, Merle.
What did he say?
That's key, Merle. That is key. Okay, Merle's dropping truth bombs today. Any questions?
We can't understand him, boss.
You didn't hear him just say how important it is to hire Capital because we clean your ducts with our high-powered trucks and not glorified shop vacs?
No.
Nope.
Or how, if you hadn't had a duct cleaning in 5 years, it's time to stop breathing all those particulates into your lungs?
That's all true, but it sounded like he said me.
Yeah, don't make fun of the way Merle talks, guys.
Jason, may I suggest he talks just fine, but not in English.
What? I think your English is great, Merle. Look, here's the point. Nobody cleans your ducts like Capital. Right, and you deserve to breathe clean, healthy air in your home.
Absolutely. Helps with your allergies, removes bacteria.
Now you're just repeating what Merle said.
Schedule your Capital duct cleaning today online at callcapitalcares.com.
What's the way to build your well?
While going over a new client's statements from one of the big financial firms, I was floored when I read that firm does not offer tax or estate planning advice. Because we know that saving money for our clients on their taxes, legally and well within the law, can make a huge difference in their financial plan. If you want to wisely build your wealth, it is my firm opinion that without a comprehensive approach, you're going to be at a big disadvantage. At Financial Strategies, Inc., we're taking a deep dive and creating comprehensive strategies that develop your retirement, investment, and your tax and estate planning. And all under a fee-only structure that means the success we care about most is yours. I'm Jim Cantrell, and I believe we can show you a wiser way to build your wealth. So go to FinancialStrategiesInc.com and schedule a no-cost consultation.
Financial strategies, a wiser way to build your wealth.
Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
Hey, join WTMJ Sandy Max and the American Red Cross for our WTMJ Cares event, the Milwaukee County Zoo Blood Drive. Donate blood during a 3-day drive. It's Monday, June 26th. That's a week from Monday through Wednesday, the 28th, to help boost the supply of necessary blood during the shortage. Plus, if you register for this event, you receive free zoo admission and tickets to Summerfest. The Summerfest tickets are available while supplies last. For more information and to sign up, text BLOOD, B-L-O-O-D, to 855-616-1620. It's the WTMJ Cares with our very own Sandy Max with the help of our friends from Gruber Law Offices. WTMJ Breaking News Time is 1:31 p.m. And from the WTMJ Breaking News Center, here's Connie Weber.
Thanks, Jeff. The Justice Department laying out systematic problems within the Minneapolis Police Department. Attorney General Merrick Garland detailed the findings of an investigation prompted by the death of George Floyd. He said the department engages in a pattern of practice of excessive force and unlawfully discriminates against Black and Native American people. A proposal to regulate wedding barns in Wisconsin as part of an overhaul of the state's liquor laws passed the legislature. It means wedding barns that host more than 6 events a year would have to obtain a Class B liquor license, which would allow them to serve beer and wine. Bill affects every level of the state's alcohol industry, governing the licensing, producing, selling, and distribution of beer, wine, and liquor. Forecasters predicting a scorching heat wave across the southeast this weekend. National Weather Service says record-breaking heat index temperatures are possible from Texas to Florida over the Juneteenth holiday. They warn the feels-like temperature, factoring in humidity, could reach 115 in Dallas and Houston. Time for news about your money and the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. The indices are all down right now. The Dow is down 6 points, S&P 500 down a point, and the NASDAQ Composite is off 46. Get on track with investment and retirement planning. Visit annexwealth.com and click the Get Started button today. Taking a look at your roads with your Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver traffic. Those delays continue to build on I-43 southbound from Brown Deer Road to downtown. Now that's about a 42-minute drive, and northbound is delayed as well. Likely there's some looky-loos looking at that crash there. The crash is just blocking one of the lanes, so the road is not completely closed, but expect delays on I-43 southbound from Brown Deer Road into downtown.
Traffic is sponsored by TaybackAttorneys.com. Heard at work? Call Tayback for the payback. An injury at work may leave you eligible for compensation benefits, including lost wages, coverage of medical bills, or a cash settlement. Call Tayback for the payback. TaybackAttorneys.com.
Your WTMJ 5-day forecast: decreasing clouds today. It'll be hazy, high 68 to 75. Clear tonight with a low 53. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, high 77 to 81. Partly cloudy Sunday, high 78 lakeside, 83 inland, up to 88 on Monday and 89 on Tuesday under mostly sunny skies. Right now in Milwaukee, we're at 60 degrees. I'm Connie Weber, Sighting Unlimited WTMJ News Time 1:33.
I'm Jeff Wagner. Coming up next, well, there's no such thing as a free lunch, but how about free electricity? Stick around.
More Jeff Wagner right after this.
In Wisconsin, making memories together is for everyone, whatever your ability. So here's to soaking up surf culture right here on Wisconsin's Fresh Coast. To making time for stargazing as a family. And to imaginations clear for takeoff. Here's to festies with besties. And singing along to your favorite song. Here's to those who Wisconsin. Start your summer getaway at travelwisconsin.com.
Get
Get the help you need Saturday morning with How To Radio. At 7, it's the WTMJ Fix It Show with David Nason, featuring this week's guests, Capital Heating and Cooling and Abbey Windows. At 9, plan your dream vacation with the Fox World Travel Show. And at 10, get financial guidance during Money Talk. Contact NX Wealth Management for an unbiased review of your investments at annexwealth.com. How To Radio, Saturday mornings on WTMJ.
Find Dad's Day deals that won't be beat this Father's Day at Fleet Farm. This week, take 25% off select Under Armour apparel and footwear for the family. Or get a Bighorn Greystone pellet grill for just $279.99. Plus, if you find a lower price, we'll match it. We have what you need for everyday life at new, lower prices. Fleet Farm.
Hey, WTMJ's John Mercure here. When it comes to memory care and assisted living, you want a team that knows compassion and empathy. That's Azura Memory Care and Assisted Living. I know, my grandma was in assisted living. I have an aunt, one of my favorite aunts, right now in memory care. At Azura, they specialize in caring for those with early to late stage Alzheimer's or other related dementia symptoms. They provide additional daily living assistance for those with cognitive decline. 14 locations in Wisconsin, AzuraLiving.com, Wisconsin-based, family-owned. The teams I trust are at Azura. AzuraLiving.com.
Welcome back to Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
I admit, when I first heard this idea, I thought, there's no way that this is going to get any sort of traction at all. I'm not sure now that that assessment was correct because, well, we live in this different world and you have, I don't know, some people that control the Public Services Commission and things like that. And the idea is, well, maybe we need to start doing something different. The concept is, it's called a PIP plan, Percentage of Income Payment Program. Now, let's back up here. Generally, when it comes to utilities, it's kind of a simple thing. You pay based on the amount of electricity you use, you pay for the amount of natural gas you use. So if you're like me, I get a bill from We Energies every month, and it says, okay, this is how much you owe, and of the bill, this is how much is due to the electricity you used, and this is how much you due to the natural gas you used. And if I use more electricity, for example, if during the winter or during the summer, I want to run my air conditioner and I want to set it at 68, well, okay, as opposed to 75, I'm going to use more electricity and my electric bill is going to be higher, because I've chosen to set it at 68 instead of 75. In contrast, during the winter, if I decide I want to keep my house at 65 degrees or 66 degrees, I'm going to pay less in natural gas than if I set it at 74. Why? Because even though it's going to be a little bit colder, I'm using less natural gas. And so you as a consumer get to decide, all right, to an extent, how does this work? Well, it's no secret that the costs of utilities are going up. Interestingly, one of the reasons utility costs are going up is because the government is putting so much pressure on utility companies to switch from coal-fired plants or natural gas plants to switch to solar energy or wind power or things like that, and that's expensive. It costs a bunch of money to make those conversions, and those conversions are nowhere near as effective. So the cost of making those switches, the cost of producing that energy is going up, and as a result, that gets passed on to consumers. All right, so nobody likes to pay more in energy bills, but it kind of is what it is. So what is this PIP stuff that you talk about? There is a proposal which is apparently getting serious consideration by the Public Service Commission, which would cap the amount of your utility bills. It would tie it not to how much you use, but would tie it instead to your income. And the rule would be that if this was put into place, no one could be expected to pay more than 6% of their income for utility costs. So it doesn't matter how much electricity you use. It doesn't matter how much natural gas you use. The idea would be, you could not be required to pay more than 6%. And if you, I don't know, let's pick a number. Let's say that 6% number came out to $100 a month, for example. If you were to use $120 worth of electricity or worth of natural gas, you wouldn't have to pay that extra $20. You would only have to pay the $100. And the argument in favor of this is, well, it's not fair that extra $20, in my example, that extra $20 means more to somebody who is low income than it does to somebody who's middle income or upper income. What's $20 to them? Of course, they should pay for it. But if you have somebody who's lower income, well, it's not fair. And similarly, my example is $20, but it wouldn't make any difference. It could be $50, it could be $100, whatever. Your payment would be capped at that 6% number. Our number is 855-616-1620. That's the Old National Bank talk and text line. Now, the other question, and I guess it's kind of got an obvious answer to it, is, wait a second. Well, that sounds great. I mean, that sounds great. Some people aren't going to have to pay as much in utility costs. Who could possibly be against that? Well, the reality is there is no free lunch, and there is no free electricity, and there is no free natural gas. So by capping some people, somebody uses $150 worth of gas and electric in a given month, they only have to pay $100. Who do you think is going to have to pick up the difference? Well, okay, you get three guesses and the first two don't count. The people that are going to have to pick up the difference are the people that are paying, the higher rates, the higher income individuals. You're going to have to effectively pay for the fact you're going to have to pay that $50 difference. 855-616-1620. What do you think about that? We discuss in just a moment.
Stay tuned. Jeff Wagner returns after this on WTMJ.
Deliciousness from scratch. That's the Packing House.
We've left no stone unturned, and we've spared no expense to make your outdoor dining experience at the Packing House one to remember. Our patio is now open, and it is beautiful. Of course, the full menu is available, and we have invested in a state-of-the-art retractable roof, sound system, the absolute best heaters money can buy, a wonderful 5-foot gas fireplace, and an amazing waterfall, all to make your outdoor dining a pleasure. We're situated right next to the airport, and I've always loved seeing the planes flying in and out. And on a warm summer evening, it's really a nice added outdoor benefit. I'm Chris Wyken, inviting you to enjoy an outdoor dining experience you'll be sure to remember on our patio at the Packing House, a Heritage Milwaukee Supper Club destination across from the airport on Layton.
Deliciousness from scratch. That's the Packing House.
Reservations are always recommended.
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
Winning isn't everything. It's the only thing. I always thought Vince Lombardi came up with that famous sports nugget, but it turns out he borrowed it from a college coach. And now I'm going to borrow it too. Because when there are 10 or 20 offers on a property, there's only one winner. In today's inventory-starved real estate market, you need a Lombardi-level mortgage coach. One who has all the best plays in the playbook. Going with your bank for your pre-approval is like playing in a professional playoff game with the JV coach at the helm. The Lombardi-level coaches at AccuNet are called senior loan consultants, and each one has been trained by me to help you and your real estate agent work as one team to deliver the one and only thing that matters, winning. So if you've been losing with your flimsy bank pre-approval, trade up today to a rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval and a Lombardi-level game plan. And if you're just getting started, why not start with the best? Click on the blue button today and get started with your winning game plan at accunet.com.
Hiring is a lot easier with Indeed. Their powerful platform makes it easy to attract, interview, and hire candidates all in the same place. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Seriously injured? Call Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
Before you go looking for an area rug that you'll have to settle for because you think that the one you really want will be out of your budget, come to Design Exchange. where you'll find a formidable selection of Oriental, Persian, and other wool area rug choices at 25 to 70% off retail. This is Katie with Design Exchange, where discerning buyers with discriminating tastes come to find premium home decor on consignment at a value. Design Exchange in Heartland and Pewaukee.
Design Exchange.
In Heartland, you're going to find a focus on distinctive furniture, unique antiques, and original artwork, along with tasteful home decor that can fit almost any budget. In Pewaukee, the focus is on kitchen, outdoor, and garden decor, and all of it is priced at 25 to 40% off retail. This is Katie with Design Exchange, where discerning buyers with discriminating tastes come to find premium home decor on consignment at a value.
Design Exchange.
Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
855-616-1620, which is the Old National Bank talk and text line. I admit, I thought that this proposal was just going to absolutely go nowhere. But the Public Service Commission just had a series of hearings, and the poverty advocates are out big time pushing for this. Oh, this is the moral thing to do. You can't expect people who are low income to contribute more than 6% of their income to, paying their utility costs. Okay, that's fine, but the reality is then everybody else is going to have to pay for that as well. Nicole in Mount Pleasant. Nicole, you're on WTMJ.
Hi, Jeff. Great topic. Thank you. I listen to your show as much as I can.
Thank you.
I'm somebody who makes a very healthy income, and I guess if I'm understanding the math correctly, 6%, and that's going to be across the board, all people who are getting utilities? Or
no, you can't be required to pay more than 6% of your income. So if you, so it doesn't sound like it would, you would not fall under this. You would just have to pay for it. So, for example, let's say you made $30,000. Let's say your income was $30,000. Your utility costs could not exceed $1,800. So once you hit, so it doesn't matter. Let's say your yearly utility costs would be $4,000, just for the sake of argument. You could only pay up to $1,800. So everybody else would have to pick up, in my example, that extra $2,200.
No, I understand that, but my income is over $100,000 a year.
Right.
So 6% of that would be $6,000. That's double what I pay right now. My average annual utilities is like $3,000 all in.
Yes.
So I would be No, I'm definitely going to be voting against that.
Yeah, no, thanks for now. I have to, and it depends. Thanks for calling, Nicole. Now, I guess I don't know if there would be some income cap for that, like whether you have to be below $50,000 or below $70,000 or below $100,000 to qualify. But no, it's what we're looking at is income redistribution. I mean, let's be honest here. The idea is that, well, don't you care about poor people who, don't have the money to, who have to struggle? Because the truth is that extra $50 a month or $70 a month that they might have to come up with, that's harder for them to come up with that than it is for somebody who's making $100,000 a year or whatever. So that's kind of the argument. Of course, we don't say that about other stuff. We don't say, okay, before we redistribute the wealth, we're going to, look at how many streaming services do people have, and how much are they spending on their wireless carrier, or how many cell phones or whatever. We don't ask any of that. We just simply look at the income. But the other aspect of this is there's under these PIP plans, there's no incentive to conserve at all, none. Now, what they're looking at doing in California, and I mentioned this a couple weeks ago. They're looking at saying, okay, everybody's got to pay for the amount of electricity they use, but what we're going to do is we're going to start charging, everybody's going to get charged a fee. The fee, whether it's $15 or $50 or $100, that's going to be based on your income. So if you're low income, you might pay $10. If you're higher income, you might pay $50. But at least under those plans, what happens is you still pay for your electricity usage. So if you're somebody that decides, okay, this is California, it's hot in the summer, I'm in LA, I want to jack my air conditioning, I want to put it down to 66 degrees, so I'm going to use a lot of it. At least under that plan, where you pay a fee, you still have to pay for your usage. Under this plan, there's no incentive at all to conserve, because once you hit that number, you can't be charged, you're not going to be charged more. So they're not going to say, so again, if our first caller, Nicole, hate to use her as an example, but if Nicole says, look, I'm concerned about the money and I want to conserve about this, so I'm going to set my heat at 68 in the winter. Okay, because I'm going to have to pay for this. Well, okay, that's all well and good, but somebody else who qualifies for this, pays again, if they want to set their heating at 74. Okay, once they hit that magic number, 6%, there's no incentive at all for them to turn down the heat or not turn up the air conditioning in the summer. Let's talk to Jay in East Troy. Jay, you're on WTMJ. Good afternoon.
Yeah, how are we going to control these excess spending? Are they going to turn their heat up so much, or?
There's no way to control
it. The government doesn't regulate much.
Yeah, there's no. I mean, thanks for calling. I mean, I get it. There's no way to control that as a practical matter. I mean, there's no limits. Like I say, at least what they're doing in California, you still have to. There's still some degree of penalty based on your usage, because you got to pay for the gas you use. Their way of trying to promote equity is to stick it to the higher in terms of a monthly fee. But here, there's no restrictions on this. And by the way, one of the things I know that's frustrating to some of the utility companies, and I get that people, we hate the utility companies. They're kind of like insurance companies. Nobody likes to pay the money for that type of stuff. But, the utility companies will tell you they are very, very aggressive as far as trying to, work with low-income households to work out payment plans. There's all sorts of different relief programs that are available, energy assistance programs, things like that are mindful. And if we want to talk about, okay, are there ways to expand these type of things? I think that that's a reasonable idea. But this idea that we are now going to say, this is another practical matter. How do you really determine what somebody's household income is? As a practical matter, and who is it that's going to make that determination? I mean, is there somebody at the government, at the Public Service Commission, is there somebody in Tony Evers' office that's going to determine, all right, when somebody says, hey, I qualify for this and my household income, let's say the threshold is 40 grand, just picking a number out of the hat. I qualify for this because I make 38 grand a year. Who's going to really determine whether that person makes 38 or whether they make 45? How are you going to make that determination that's there? If you want to talk about ways to figure out how we reduce utility costs overall, well, the easiest one is to maybe push back on some of these requirements that we're putting in place for all the green energy and the stuff like that are increasing the costs of production for the utility companies. But regardless, this is one of these income redistribution things which gains traction because, well, all members of the Public Service Commission right now are appointed by Tony Evers, and it's like, well, all right, we have to do more to help those least fortunate among us, and if that means sticking it to everybody else, so be it. Back with more in just a minute. This is Jeff Wagner.
Stay tuned. Jeff Wagner returns after this on WTMJ. No, he's not going to put you in the lineup. But luckily, this is the closest you can get to the skipper himself.
I mean, Robin is the all-time brewer for sure.
Greg Council, every Tuesday on Wisconsin's Morning News at 7:45.
Willie is, I think, a player that, is capable of taking down some of the things that Robin has done.
This is Brewers 360, presented by Holiday Automotive and Outdoor Living Unlimited.
Hi folks, Cindy Storm Fisher and Julie Coombs here at Storm Fisher Investment Group with just one question. Are you happy with how your investments are growing? We've been helping people just like you for over 40 years, and we'd be happy to help you.
We have no agenda, no quotas to meet, and great relationships are our business. If you're looking for an advisory relationship like you've never had before, call us. Let's see if it's a great fit. Storm Fisher Investment Group, online at stormfisher.com.
See you soon.
Securities offered through Securities America Inc., member FINRA SIPC. Advisory services offered through Arbor Point Advisors LLC. Storm Fisher, Arbor Point, and Securities America are separate entities.
I know you have a great dog, right? But you know there's room for improvement. At Sit Means Sit Dog Training, we can help. Our attention-based training system uses modern technology to help you better communicate with your dog, even in high distraction. When you schedule a free consultation with us, you will have the opportunity to see our training in action and meet for yourself our happy dogs off leash and under control. Contact Sit Means Sit today at 262-361-3641 or find us on the web at sitmeansitwaukesha.com to schedule your free consultation so you can have a happy, confident, and obedient dog.
When you're due for tire service, visit richlands.com for the location nearest you.
We'll give you a free flat tire repair on every tire we install. No questions asked. I'm Brett Matchey with Richlands. You're due for service.
Richlands! Sizzling summer savings are happening now at Ashley. Get ready to save on the hottest furniture styles for every room in your home. Upgrade your living room with a new sectional. Create a restful retreat with a new bed. Or elevate your dining room with a new dining set. And to make these sizzling savings even hotter, we offer flexible payment options for every budget. Score savings that are almost too hot to handle. Visit your local Ashley store or ashley.com to shop and save today.
Gentle with the nail trimmers. You mustn't nip the quick.
Short-staffed, Marco needs to fetch some help now.
The poodle has to look like a bear. Scruffy to fluffy.
He needs a groomer that will be the bark of the town.
Please hold. Has anyone groomed a chinchilla before?
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station. Back for more. Here's WTMJ's Jeff Wagner.
And again, there's still a little bit of confusion about this proposal. It wouldn't require you to pay 6% of your income for utilities. It would cap the amount that you could be charged for utilities at 6% of your income. So if you made $50,000, you couldn't be charged, whatever 6% of that would be, $3,000, right? That's my math quick. So once you hit that, your utility costs are $3,000, you couldn't be charged more. That would be it. If you made $100,000, you couldn't be charged more than $6,000. But it's not that you have to pay 6%. But the idea would be that ultimately, somebody else is going to have to pay for that. So if you're only paying $3,000 for your utilities and you use $6,000 worth of gas and electric, where is that $3,000 going to come from? And it's going to come from everybody else. One of our texters says, Jeff, I used to own a rental property on 36th and Hampton. In the middle of winter, I said, as the landlord, I paid the utilities. In the middle of winter, I'd go over, the tenants would be in shorts and tank tops. The heat was always set at 85 degrees. No way is this okay. Right, there's no, I hate to admit this, my junior year in college, all right, I rented, with a couple of the guys, we rented an apartment, and the landlord paid the rent. The landlord paid the utilities. And I guess I wasn't really as aware about things then as I am now, but we were never concerned with how, we were never concerned with what the thermostat was set at because we weren't paying for it. At least we weren't paying for it directly. But the second year, once he started looking at what the utility costs were, well, then the rent went up dramatically because, well, I don't know, we weren't paying as much attention as we should have. But the bottom line is that's true. If you're not responsible for paying for the utilities, Well, you're going to do that. You're going to jack it up to 75 or 77 or 80 or whatever, in the dead of winter because, well, it's not anything that you're paying for. What could go wrong with that? Okay, we've got a lot of great stuff coming up in the 2 o'clock hour, including my trip to the liquor store and, of course, Pop Culture Corner. Stick around.
More Jeff Wagner right after this.
Experience fast, affordable family fun at Elkhart Lakes Road America. With on-site camping, free parking, and free admission for kids 16 and younger, Road America offers world-class racing and so much more. From NASCAR to Indy to off-road UTV riding. You can even host your next company picnic or family reunion. Get the full race schedule at roadamerica.com. That's roadamerica.com. Or call 800-365-7223. Road America, America's National Park of Speed.
88% of hiring managers want to see better job candidates than they're getting. And it takes an average of 87 hours to manage a single job opening. Let LAK Group help. They streamline the recruiting process, focusing on identifying, selecting, and integrating a sustainable pipeline of diverse talent who fit your company professionally and culturally. Let LAK Group's executive recruiting services help you find great candidates. Visit transformingcareers.com. LAK Group. Discover your human advantage.
What's better than the look and feel of real leather? The amazing prices at Steinhafels.
Do what you want because a pirate is free. You are a pirate.
All right, you can stop swinging your sword. Our coverage of the Pirates' invasion of Milwaukee starts at 6 with Brewers warm-up. We are the home of the Brewers. News Radio 620, WTMJ, Milwaukee.
2 o'clock, we have 61 degrees, decreasing cloudiness today, hazy, with a high 68 lakeside, 75 inland. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Connie Weber. An 8-year-old boy, one of the 2 victims who was killed in that small plane crash in Watertown earlier this week. In a letter to parents, the principal of Summit View Elementary in Waukesha identified the boy as Colin Strebe. The plane crashed at Brant Quick Park on Carriage Hill Drive Wednesday. The pilot's identity has not been released. With shared revenue passed by the state legislature, the mayor of Milwaukee may have to convince skeptical council members to get on board with the plan.
The measure, which will be signed by the governor, will allow Milwaukee to raise the sales tax.
This puts Milwaukee in line with best practices with cities across the country.
But only if Mayor Cavalier Johnson can get 2/3 of the Common Council to go along with the increase. Some council members have criticized the deal. Johnson tells 1017 The Truth that without it, less cops will be on the streets.
We would see hundreds and hundreds of police officers no longer on the beat. We would see our library system disappear. And those are not things that I want to see. And I think people in Milwaukee want those services as well.
Eric Bilstead, WTMJ News.
A UPS driver strike could begin as early as August 1st. If a deal isn't reached, the International Brotherhood of Teamsters announced today they have authorized a nationwide strike. Top issues involve wages and air-conditioned trucks. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention has a new director. CNN confirming Mandy Cohen will take over when Rochelle Walensky steps down as CDC director. President Biden said in a statement that North Carolina's former health secretary has a proven track record protecting Americans' health and safety. A flag honoring Juneteenth now flying at the state capitol. Juneteenth marks the end of slavery across the country. Governor Evers spoke during a ceremony earlier this afternoon.
We also recognize and acknowledge the work that we have left to do to truly realize goals for a more equitable and just state.
A Milwaukee Juneteenth parade will take place Monday. Our partners at 1017 The Truth will be broadcasting live from the parade throughout the day. For the first time in 3 years, Milwaukee's lakefront will be covered in art. The Milwaukee Art Museum bringing back the Lakefront Festival Art this weekend. It'll be the first event since 2019. The museum's Courtney Kisslinger tells WTMJ some artists have been waiting for years to show off their wares.
Taking the artists that juried in 2020. So they have been waiting for years to get to the lakefront and show their fabulous artwork.
The festival starts today and runs through Sunday. The Whitefish Bay High School baseball team is D1 state champs after beating Hortonville 5-1 on Thursday. Brewers manager Craig Counsell was at the game. His son Jack is on the team. Earlier this week, Counsell told WTMJ how much he'd enjoyed seeing his kid play.
Any parent who gets to watch their kids, do something they love doing and have spent a lot of time working hard to get good at it, it's fun to watch the results of that.
The game was played at the Timber Rattler Stadium in Appleton. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Sighting Unlimited, WTMJ News Time 2:04.
From big tailgate parties to cozy dinners for two, the freshest ideas start with a stop at Century Foods.
Now through Wednesday, save on 48-ounce carton selected varieties Cedar Crest Premium Ice Cream, $3.99. 3-count box selected varieties Magnum Ice Cream Novelties, $4.49. 64-ounce bottle Indian Summer Apple Juicer Cider, 2 for $4. 5.6 to 5.9-ounce box selected varieties Cheetos Mac and Cheese, 2 for $3.
Hey, why'd you throw my glass across the room?
I have to keep practicing.
The vase from Aunt Sophie?
I'm warming up in case I get to take the mound at American Family Field. Read this.
Win the ultimate baseball fan experience at Century Foods?
You either get to throw out the first pitch, hold the finish line for the famous racing sausages, or be on the field during batting practice. My new TV!
Just doing a little batting practice of my own.
The ultimate baseball fan experience from Century Foods. Return the entry form found in the weekly ad to any Century by July 26th.
A wiser way to build your wealth.
A wiser way to build your wealth starts with choosing a financial planning firm that is fee only, because it means they work for you. Fee-only firms like Financial Strategies, Inc. don't work for a bank or brokerage firm or an insurance company or mutual fund company, because we don't want our decisions for your best interest compromised in any way. We work for you, and only in your best interest. And fee-only means the success we care about most is yours. Ask your advisor, are you 100% fee-only for 100% of your clients 100% of the time? If they answer no, get a second opinion. I'm Jim Cantrell with Financial Strategies, Inc., a fee-only, comprehensive financial planning firm. And I believe we can show you a wiser way to build your wealth. So go to financialstrategiesinc.com and schedule a no-cost consultation.
Financial Strategies, a wiser way to build your wealth.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update.
Following a day off, the Brewers begin a 6-game homestand tonight against the Pittsburgh Pirates. Milwaukee 1/2 game back at Pittsburgh for first place in the NL Central. Coverage gets underway tonight following the 6 o'clock news on WTMJ. Brewers lefty pitcher Wade Miley expected to come off the injured list and start on Saturday. We are less than 1 week away from the NBA draft. The Bucks own just one selection, number 58 overall. And round 2 of the U.S. Open underway from Los Angeles Country Club. Wyndham Clark in the lead at 9 under par. Xander Schauffele and Ricky Fowler, yesterday's leaders, one shot off the pace at 8 under. Greg Matzik, WTMJ Sports.
Take a look at your roads with your Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver traffic. We still have delays. I-43 northbound and southbound between downtown and Brown Deer Road due to an earlier crash southbound. Those delays now southbound about 24 minutes. Normally take you about 11. Northbound delays running about 14 minutes this afternoon.
Traffic is sponsored by Hall Mazda Milwaukee. Visit hallmazdamilwaukee.com.
Be our eyes on the roads. Report accidents, slowdowns, and road conditions to the WTMJ Hall Mazda traffic tip line at 414-238-9329.
Your WTMJ 5-day forecast. We're looking for clear skies tonight with a low at 53. Mostly sunny tomorrow, high 77 lakeside, 81 inland. Sunday, partly cloudy with a high 78 to 83. Monday, partly sunny, 79 lakeside, 88 inland, and just a little bit cooler, or a little bit warmer, I should say, on Tuesday. Mostly sunny with a high 80, highs ranging from 80 lakeside to 89 inland. Right now in Madison, 63, Green Bay, 60 degrees, and 61 in Milwaukee. I'm Connie Weber. Sighting Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 2:08.
Live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue, it's the Jeff Wagner Show. Now, here's WTMJ's Jeff Wagner.
Good afternoon, Wisconsin. Welcome back to the show. So glad to have you with us once again. If you've missed some of the program, you can catch up with our podcasts. You can subscribe through WTMJ.com or Apple, iTunes, or Spotify. In addition, if you like your spoken word radio with video as well, we do that now. All our shows are broadcast on YouTube. You can just go to YouTube, put in WTMJ. We've got a WTMJ channel, or alternatively, just go to WTMJ.com, click on the Watch Live, and you can see, like I say, how my wife has dressed me in any given day. Glad to have you with us. Pop Culture Corner at the bottom of the hour. I'm trying as much as I possibly can to, over the last several days, to make the program kind of a Trump-free zone, because there's not much more to say about what's going on. I understand that there are people who think that Donald Trump is the Antichrist and deserves to be, perp walked out and are not going to be happy until they see him in handcuffs and behind bars. Well, okay. I also understand that there's some people who think that Donald Trump is a victim of an evil society and the deep state is out to get him. And the only person who can save our country is if Donald Trump is reelected president, which I don't believe is going to happen either. And the reality is, as often happens, there's this vast chunk of the rest of us who kind of see stuff for, what it is. But I admit to being intrigued. I've said this before. I think to me, when historians look back at this, regardless of how the documents prosecution turns out, as I've said before, trust me, if you take nothing away from this program, let's just take some free legal advice from a recovering lawyer and a former federal prosecutor. You never, ever, 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 ever want to see your name at the top of an indictment. When you see, United States District Court, Southern District of Florida, or Eastern District of Wisconsin, or whatever, United States of America versus, if your name is in that caption, it's not a good thing. It's just, trust me, it's not a good thing. Even if you're able to somehow beat the rap, well, it's still going to take all sorts of money. And, chances are that the truth of the matter is most times when people find themselves indicted in federal court, they're either going to resolve this with a guilty plea or they're going to be convicted. That's just the reality. But it's just a huge distraction. And, if you get convicted, then you end up having to ride the rap. And that's a problem. The thing that has just always amazed me about this story, though, is how self-inflicted this is. Now, I understand there's people out there who say, okay, this is unfair. What about the Hillary Clinton server? And, people deleted all these emails. And I think that is a fair argument. But that's an argument for, okay, was James Comey wrong? Should Hillary Clinton have been prosecuted? That's a different question. It's not, did Trump do stuff that was appropriate? And to me, the biggest question always remains is, what's going on with this? He had boxes and boxes and boxes of documents that did not belong to him, including all sorts of classified documents that he was not allowed to have. In addition, these were knowingly stored in public areas. I mean, I still can't get over that picture of the one bathroom at Mar-a-Lago, and they've just got boxes and boxes, bankers' boxes full of documents. And the question to me always becomes, why? I mean, it's one thing to take them, but then it's another to keep them when, you're being asked to return them, and then to kind of refuse to do that. And, I've given all the documents back, and then you haven't. And it's just bizarre to me that you end up in this particular situation. And that's always one of the most intriguing things about why did he do it? Why did you invite all this type of scrutiny when the easy thing to make all this go away was, all right, let's get the forklift truck, let's put all these bankers' boxes back, and let's ship them back to the National Archives when they ask, and then the whole issue goes away. So it's that kind of why question, and we've talked about it before, and I think it comes down to, I think, sort of this arrogance and this idea that the rules don't apply to me. But there's an interesting story of all places in the New York Times today, and I read the New York Times so you don't have to, and it analyzes, it asks this question, and the headline is, at the heart of the documents case, Trump's attachment to his boxes. And it tries to ask, why did this happen? And apparently, again, they've cobbled this story together, and you can decide whether it's accurate or not based on interviews with aides and things like that. But apparently, Trump, on a regular basis, would like to be surrounded with his bankers' boxes full of stuff, to the point that if he was leaving the White House and he was going to be going to New York for a week, they would pack up all these different boxes and they would take it with him. And then, if he was going to Florida, they would move the boxes. He was just like these boxes were his companion. Which, again, it's just kind of because he liked to be surrounded by this. And apparently they're saying he knew what was in it. He could tell if somebody had gone through his boxes. And again, it's bizarre to me. When I was in the U.S. Attorney's office, I used to work out of bankers' boxes. And you'd have, different pending court cases or pending investigations. And I had this big table in my office, and I would have a banker's box, or sometimes two or three if it was a big case, that had the different documents. I'd have a file that's, witness statements, and it would have the different witness statements in it, and then a file with pretrial motions and a file of government's response to pretrial motions. So that's how I worked too. I had banker's boxes and I had folders. And I acknowledge that, for example, if I was going home for the weekend and I had to prep for the trial, and I have, Charlie's going to be my leadoff witness on Monday, I would bring maybe my Charlie witness file there so I could work on that. Or maybe if it was opening statements and I had my notes on opening statements, I would bring that file with me, and I would put it in my briefcase. I'd take it out of the banker's box. I'd put it in my briefcase, and I'd take it home with me, and then I'd bring it back Monday morning, after I had worked with it. Trump apparently didn't operate that way. He just had all these banker's boxes, and they would just follow him around. And the story of this is they say that he could tell if people had been going through his boxes and things like that, but he was just insistent on having all this stuff with him. They apparently referred to this as the Beautiful Mind paper boxes. If you ever saw the story of Beautiful Mind, that was the movie about John Nash, who was the mathematician with schizophrenia, who would travel around with newspaper clippings and stuff, and that's how he just reacted. He had to be surrounded by his stuff. Trump, it sounds like, was kind of like that he just liked to travel with all his different boxes and things like that, instead of just, okay, I'm going up to the residence tonight, I've got to work on this file, so I'm going to take this particular file. He'd have these boxes just kind of followed him all over, which is fine when you're the president, but once you stop being the president, it's kind of weird, but it's fine when you're the president, but when you stop being the president, just ship the stuff back to where it belongs, which is like the National Archives. So, I don't know. People are going to be trying to answer this question about why for the longest period of time, and I don't know that we're ever going to get a good answer, but it really does seem that a lot of this stuff is self-inflicted. At least a lot of these wounds are self-inflicted, and as I've argued before, it's not good for the country. I don't care how you feel about Donald Trump. Having a former president facing indictment and potentially incarceration, I'm not sure I think that's going to happen, but it's just not good. It's divisive for this country. It calls into question our entire electoral process. It breeds distrust. It's not good. But at the end of the day, if Trump would have just done what I think most people would have done in that circumstance, which is send all the stuff back, the whole thing goes away, it could have all been avoided. When we come back, all right, something I was asking people at the liquor store 2 days ago. I will explain. We will discuss. Stick around.
More Jeff Wagner right after this.
The award-winning 1017 The Truth is excited to be back celebrating the 52nd annual Juneteenth celebration in Milwaukee. Make sure you come down on Monday, June 19th, as we will be broadcasting live from the Juneteenth celebration from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Stop by our table to play games, win Truth swag, and say what up to your favorite Truth teammates. The 1017 The Truth celebration of Juneteenth is sponsored by Educators Credit Union, Tayback Law, Molson Coors, and Associated Bank.
Hey, this is WTMJ's Jeff Wagner here to tell you about Built Right furniture, leather, and mattresses. If you're looking for affordable, better quality furniture and mattresses, you have to do what a couple of my family members did. They went to Built Right. When you get to the store, you're going to find a 45,000 square foot showroom with thousands of furniture items in stock, plus 500 mattresses. This includes a huge selection of USA and Amish-made furniture, plus better quality imported furniture for any size home. Also, check out Built Right's over 48 models of in-stock power lift recliners. Special and custom orders are much faster in 2023 as well. Free in-store design services are available too. And now's a great time to get to Built Right, as their USA-made sale store-wide is on now. Built Right, voted best place to shop and winner of the Home Furnishings Association's 2023 National Retailer of the Year Award. They're open Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Sunday they're closed to be with family. When you get there, do me a favor. Tell them WTMJ's Jeff Wagner sent you to locally and family-owned Built Right, 5430 West Layton Avenue in Greenfield.
Accunet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
Winning isn't everything. It's the only thing. I always thought Vince Lombardi came up with that famous sports nugget, but it turns out he borrowed it from a college coach. And now I'm going to borrow it too. Because when there are 10 or 20 offers on a property, there's only one winner. In today's inventory-starved real estate market, you need a Lombardi-level mortgage coach. One who has all the best plays in the playbook. Going with your bank for your pre-approval is like playing in a professional playoff game with the JV coach at the helm. The Lombardi-level coaches at Accunet are called senior loan consultants, and each one has been trained by me to help you and your real estate agent work as one team to deliver the one and only thing that matters, winning. So if you've been losing with your flimsy bank pre-approval, trade up today to a rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval and a Lombardi-level game plan. And if you're just getting started, why not start with the best? Click on the blue button today and get started with your winning game plan at accunet.com.
Welcome back to Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
My producer Charlie says, that's the first time I've ever had a caller call you a rhino. Republican in name only. Yeah, because, see, this is Charlie. If you don't belong to the cult of Trump, if you recognize that chaos is not good for this country, regardless of what, if you believe that, whatever he did, good or bad, while he was the president, chaos and the January 6th stuff and the incessant refusal to accept the results of an election and the refusal to comply with the law and return documents over. And if you really believe that Donald Trump, how dare you think that Donald Trump is not the only person in the world who can save this republic? You must be a rhino. No, hardly. As a matter of fact, I think most Republicans need to come around and recognize that unless you want 4 more years of Joe Biden, you got to find somebody else who can win because Donald Trump can't win. That's just the simple fact of it. I continue to believe that he's not going to be the Republican nominee, but if he is, he's going to get crushed. That's just the reality, and people need to wake up and stop trying to justify bad behavior. And don't text me and say, what about Hunter Biden? Hunter Biden's a grifter. Hunter Biden's a crook. Hunter Biden should be indicted. I have no problem with that at all. Hunter Biden traded on his family connections to make himself rich and then didn't pay taxes on it in a timely sort of fashion. There's all sorts of stuff that Hunter Biden could do, but equating Hunter Biden with Donald Trump, give me a break. All right, let us switch gears. So last night we had a number of friends over. One of my very oldest and dearest friends, who we were high school debate partners, and he and his wife are going to relocate. In their retirement years, they're going to relocate to the East Coast, so they're moving to Virginia next week. So we had I'm going to miss him a lot, but we had a sort of a going away party for him, and my wife just absolutely outdid herself. She just did a great job with that. But my only responsibility was to get the liquor for the party. And so I think it was 2 days ago, I went over to Total Wine and I had this list of stuff. And it was one of these deals where we had all sorts of different people coming, and the people, everybody drank different kinds of beer. Now, I could have been the host that just, okay, well, we're going to get Pabst, or we're going to get light beer or whatever, and that's going to be it. But I didn't want to be that kind of host. This was special. So I was trying to think, okay, what do people drink? And let me get various types of 12 packs of beer. And I'm at Total Wine, and they've got all these different sort of choices out there because I want to be a good host. I want everybody to have what they want. So 2 of my friends who were coming, they're Bud Light drinkers. Matter of fact, that's when we will occasionally go out, that's all they order. I mean, it's Bud Light for a variety of reasons, including the fact that at the places I go with them, Bud Light is cheap, but also because they like Bud Light. So, okay, so I'm in Total Wine and I'm there and I'm thinking, all right, I'm gonna get some Bud Light for my buddies Mike and Dick. So I grab a 12-pack of Bud Light along with the other stuff, go up to the counter at Total Wine, and they're checking everything off, and my curiosity kind of gets the best of me. And I say to the person behind the counter who's, checking off all the things, I said, I'm just curious. Have you worked here long? Yeah, I've worked here for a couple of years. Okay. They might have said I've worked here since the place opened or whatever. I said, okay, I'm just curious. How has Bud Light been selling lately? And the person behind the counter said, in all honesty, I think you are the first person in the last 2 weeks who's bought a 12-pack of Bud Light. And I thought, And I said, well, how does that compare to, how you were selling it previously? And he said, there's no question that the amount of Bud Light we are selling has dramatically decreased because of all this controversy and is AmBev, has it become woke? But at least based on the person I was talking to, and I admit this is thoroughly anecdotal, they're telling me, no, there has been a huge drop-off in the sales of Bud Light, at least at the one store that I was at. And that would be, of course, representative to the story that came out this week that says that, Bud Light has now no longer is the top-selling U.S. beer. Modelo Especial, which is made by the same company that makes Bud Light, for May, that took over as the top-selling U.S. beer. 8.4% of U.S. retail beer store sales compared to 7.3% for Bud Light. A drastic drop. We only have a couple minutes. 855-616-1620. It's tough for me to say because I've never been a Bud Light drinker. I mean, I'm not boycotting Bud Light because that's just not my beer of choice. I'm a Miller Lite guy if I'm going to be drinking light beer. But have you changed your beer habits? 855-616-1620. Only a couple minutes, so call quickly.
Stick around. Jeff Wagner is right around the corner.
Did you know just one blood donation can save up to 3 people's lives? Hi, WTMJ Sandy Max here. Please join me and our WTMJ Cares initiative to donate blood to those who need it the most. Join us on June 26th, 27th, and 28th as we partner with the American Red Cross and Gruber Law Offices for a blood drive at the Milwaukee County Zoo. Visit WTMJ.com or text BLOOD to 855-616-1620. You can make a difference with WTMJ Cares and me, Sandy Max.
Hi folks, Cindy Storm Fisher and Julie Coombs here at Storm Fisher Investment Group with just one question. Are you happy with how your investments are growing? We've been helping people just like you for over 40 years, and we'd be happy to help you.
We have no agenda, no quotas to meet, and great relationships are our business. If you're looking for an advisory relationship like you've never had before, call us. Let's see if it's a great fit. Storm Fisher Investment Group, online at stormfisher.com.
See you soon.
Securities offered through Securities America Inc., member FINRA SIPC. Advisory services offered through Arbor Point Advisors LLC. Storm Fisher, Arbor Point, and Securities America are separate entities.
It's ESPN Wisconsin's Greg Scalzo for Smart Spaces. How can Smart Spaces transform your business?
Really looking at the entire space holistically. The environment, the walls, ceilings, lighting, flooring, furniture, technology, along with acoustics.
To conceptualize how the end users are going to interact with the room, from the furniture all the way down to the AV, having that work seamlessly within the environment and often hiding within the furniture.
Let Smart Spaces transform your business today. Visit smartspaceswi.com.
So he said to me, boy, oh boy, do you got the boulders. And I said, you betcha. And he said, do you mind if I cherry pick? And I said, feel free. They're all beautiful and they're all granite. Sparkling pinks, blues, and grays from 4 to 36 inches. And they're all priced right. Because we buy direct from the source nationwide to give you the look you want. Erickson's Landscape Supply. High-quality mulch and stone for a whole lot less. Commercial or residential, visit ericksonslandscapesupply.com to see our entire selection. Well, if you need flagstone for your new natural patio, Erickson's is the place to find it. We have the largest selection and 15 styles to choose from. And for decorative stone, Erickson's is your best choice. Our decorative stone is trucked in from all over the country. We buy straight from the quarry and cut out the middleman to keep your prices nice and low. Erickson's Landscape Supply. High-quality mulch and stone for a whole lot less. Commercial or residential, visit ericksonslandscapesupply.com to see our entire selection.
You're listening to Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
Actually, they say in the beer industry that Memorial Day through the 4th of July is one of the real make or break times, because it's when people are out doing all sorts of summer activities and things like that. And this is a really, really ominous sign for Bud Light that their numbers are down as dramatically as they are. Bud Light sales were down 24% in the week that ended June 3rd compared with the same week last year. Now, I'm not a proper indicator because I'm not a Bud Light drinker. But at the same time, the liquor store I was in, they're telling me that their Bud Light sales have pretty much tanked. Jeff, I am not a beer drinker, but my husband has been drinking Bud Light for a long time. He will continue to drink it no matter what. Yeah, that's it. Jeff, I was at a bowling alley last week. Bud Light was on special for $2. I'm good with cheap beer, so I ordered one, and I was reminded that I really don't like Bud Light. Well, that's that's the kind of the question. Jeff, I changed my beer. I went from Coors Light to Bud Light, and I ordered when I'm at a bar that serves it. Call it an anti-boycott. Let's talk to Lynn in Milton. Lynn, you're on WTMJ. Good afternoon.
Hi, Jeff. How's it going?
I am well, thank you. What do you think about all this?
What I think about all this, I'm an old boomer, and I think Budweiser was a whole heck of a lot better off with the Clydesdales.
Well, I think a lot of people at Budweiser would agree with that whole thing, that maybe they should have stuck to the Clydesdales or the Frogs or pretty much anything else as opposed to jumping into the middle of this whole issue.
I think that if you keep heavy stuff out of trying to sell your beer and just sell your beer, instead of trying to get political or into pride or whatever, because there's going to be opposition when you stick your feet into that pool of water. And if they would have just stuck with the Frogs or the Clydesdales, wouldn't have that problem.
Well, I think part of the lesson is there's all sorts of ways that you can be socially conscious without necessarily being as controversial. And I think even the folks at Budweiser would tell you this was probably a misreading of the situation. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. Back with more in just a minute. This is Jeff Wagner, WTMJ. I'm sorry, it is I just missed my cue. WTMJ Breaking News time is 2:30 p.m. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, here's Connie Weber.
Thanks, Jeff. New York is forecast to have a repeat of Canadian wildfire smoke this weekend. The good news is it's not expected to be as extreme as last week, but there may be a smoky smell. Minneapolis air quality dipped into very unhealthy levels Thursday before improving by this morning. Family of a 26-year-old Black Ohio man who was shot and killed by police is suing the city of Akron. Jayland Walker was killed last June when 8 officers fired more than 40 rounds of bullets at him. Family filed a federal lawsuit this morning that names all 8 officers as well as Akron's mayor and chief of police. A Milwaukee County board member recovering after he was attacked at Mayfair Mall earlier this week. Supervisor Pete Bergelis tells TMJ4 News he was sucker punched and called a homophobic slur when he was hit. Bergelis is openly gay. Wauwatosa police say the incident was over a parking issue that had happened earlier. The supervisor will need surgery due to his injuries. A person of interest has been identified. Time for news about your money in the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. The markets are down this hour. The Dow is down 67 points. The S&P 500 is down 10 and the NASDAQ Composite is down 72. Get on track with investment and retirement planning. Visit annexwealth.com and click the Get Started button today. Taking a look now at your roads with your Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver traffic. We've got crashes northbound and southbound on I-43 between Brown Deer Road and downtown. Not full closures on those stretches of the highway, but one lane is blocked each way. Delays of about 38 minutes on I-43 northbound. Delays of about 26 minutes southbound. Also I-94 westbound from downtown to the Zoo interchange. That's about a 9-minute delay due to a disabled vehicle in that area. Your WTMJ 5-day forecast, clear skies tonight with a low of 53. Mostly sunny tomorrow, high 77 to 81. Sunday partly cloudy with a high 83 inland. Monday partly sunny, 88 for the high. And Tuesday mostly sunny with highs ranging from 80 lakeside to 89 inland. Right now in Milwaukee, we're at 60 degrees. I'm Connie Weber, Siding Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 2:32.
Here's a text. Jeff, I am in fact a beer salesman who sells Ambev products as well as many other brands. There has been a significant lack of sell-through of Bud Light in our selling footprint. There are stores where I haven't sent any Bud Light in almost 3 months. This only hurts the little guy like myself, the guys in the street, because our numbers are down. Well, I think that's just kind of the reality, however you feel about this. But my sense is my experience at the liquor store the other day is probably not unique. People are deciding to vote with their pocketbooks and going to other sources. Whether you agree with it or not, that's a different story. It is that time of the week, Pop Culture Corner, right around the corner. Don't go anywhere.
Don't go anywhere. Jeff Wagner is back right after this.
Find Dad's Day deals that won't be beat this Father's Day at Fleet Farm. This week, take 25% off select Under Armour apparel and footwear for the family. Or get a Bighorn Greystone pellet grill for just $279.99. Plus, if you find a lower price, we'll match it. We have what you need for everyday life at new, lower prices. Fleet Farm.
If you're like me, you always like to add a little something new to the wardrobe. But when money's tight, it makes it harder. And that's why you shop at St. Vincent de Paul for a terrific selection of women's clothing at thrift store prices. Brand names, too, with a selection that's always up to date and looking great. You're going to find something cute at the right price, and you're going to love it. St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores on Highway 100 in Layton and Greenfield, and 23rd and Lincoln in Milwaukee.
You're gonna love it, St. Vincent de Paul.
Rose Gray from Fox World Travel here to bring you exciting news. Our 2024 Fox Group Vacations collection is available. These trips are truly one-of-a-kind, immersive experiences. Whether you are looking to explore Europe, Hawaii, Asia, Egypt, or Alaska, our award-winning Fox Group Vacation experts have handcrafted exclusive experiences for people seeking to explore the world. Visit foxworldtravel.com and call a travel advisor to learn more. Join us and make memories to last a lifetime. We look forward to exploring the world with you.
Life is just getting started at Three Pillars, Wisconsin's top-rated continuing care retirement community. Located on 300 beautiful Lake Country acres, Three Pillars is taking reservations for new high-end active adult residences. With 4 styles to choose from and amenities like a supper club, fitness center, spa, pub, dog park, trails, and gardens galore. The choice is easy as you start your next adventure. Learn more at threepillars.org.
Gather round all. It's time for Wagner's Pop Culture Corner. Time to put aside the heavy lifting and have a good time at the Old National Bank talk and text line at 855-616-1620. Old National Bank. Get old. Now, here's Jeff Wagner.
It's Pop Culture Corner time, brought to you by Palermo's Pizza. Delicious frozen pizzas made right here in Wisconsin for over 55 years. Palermo's is Wisconsin's hometown pizza. I am still trying to figure out if I had a senior moment this morning. So I'm going through the New York Times, and there's a story about the movie Bull Durham. And either the director or the producer or something had written a book. It's called The Church of Baseball. And I think, oh, that's kind of interesting. So I do what I do. I go on Amazon, and I get ready to order the book because I like books about movies and things like that. And I like that movie. And I go on there, and it says, I bought the book. It says, you ordered this in July of 2022. I swear. I said this to my wife. I have absolutely no recollection of this. I cannot find the book. I'm looking for the book. I have no recollection of getting it. I have no recollection of reading it. I have no recollection of where it is. So I spent about 15 minutes this morning that I didn't have looking through it, and I swear it's not my house. So, my default position when stuff like that happens is, well, maybe it's in Florida, because we got a second place in Florida. But nevertheless, I ordered the paperback edition because it looked like it was good. And I love to read books, and maybe it'll turn up somewhere, but I have I just don't even recall this, which is kind of a scary sort of thing. But Amazon says they delivered it, so Amazon has to be right and I have to be wrong. But it got me thinking about books. Now, whenever I talk about trying to find books, my wife rolls her eyes because we have a lot of books at our houses. We just do, because I will be seeing that there's a new book that's out, or I'll be reading the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, or whatever, and I'll see something that's interesting. Oh, that sounds like an interesting book, and I will order it. And I have stacks and stacks of books that I do. At any given time, I'm reading 2 or 3 books, but I only have so much time, and I can't get through them all. But I keep buying new books, and my wife again says, why don't you stop buying these books until you catch up with some of the hundreds that you have around that you haven't read? And I'm like, well, it's kind of a harmless thing, so I might forget about it. So I want to have the books there. So if you can't tell, I am an avid reader, and I like the new stuff. I read the new stuff. I love finding authors as well. But one of the things I make myself do every year is I pick 2 or 3 books that I am going to call classics. I pick 2 or 3 books that I read maybe when I was made to read them in high school, maybe when I was in college or whatever, but books that would be considered to be classics and that I haven't read in years and years. and I go back and I reread them. I make myself reread a classic or two a year, and sometimes I find that, boy, I forgot how good a book this was. I did it last year with To Kill a Mockingbird. I forgot how good a book that was. The other classic, quote unquote, that I reread last year was The Great Gatsby. They made me read it in high school. I didn't like it in high school. I didn't like it when I read it again last year. So I always try to find one or two classics and reread them. All right, this Pop Culture Corner today, we are going to do something I've been promising for weeks. This is devoted to literature. It is devoted to books. For Pop Culture Corner, here is my question. A book that you would enjoy rereading, that you think everybody should reread. What is your classic? And I guess I try to ask, don't make it too terribly obscure, but maybe that book that, you read when you were a kid, you read when you were in high school, you read when you were in college, you read for fun, maybe 20 or 30 years ago, but you just absolutely love it, and you want to go reread it. You never get tired of doing that. 855-616-1620. We have a Palermo's Pizza prize package to give away in the exclusive discretion of my producer, Charlie. It's a coupon good for 2 frozen pizzas and one of our prized Palermo's pizza cutters and some other good stuff as well. Charlie gets to pick who gets that. 855-616-1620. A book that you never get tired of rereading or you'd like to go back and reread. We're back with that in just a minute.
More Jeff Wagner right after this.
Here in Wisconsin, one name is synonymous with fantastic frozen pizza, Palermo's. For almost 60 years, Palermo's has focused on feeding Wisconsin families. And though Palermo's has grown a lot since 1964, they're still family-owned. They're still proud to call Milwaukee home. And they're still committed to making the best frozen pizza possible. From their new and improved rising crust pizzas to their guilt-free Primo thin pies, Palermo's has a delicious slice for every appetite. Find Palermo's in your local grocer's freezer food aisle. Palermo's. Flavor is our family's business.
WTMJ's Vince Vitrano here for Sister Bay Furniture. Summer is finally here. Time for patio parties, graduation parties, backyard games, firing up the grill. You're going to want to enjoy some quality outdoor time with your friends and family, and everyone will enjoy relaxing on your Sister Bay Furniture. Sister Bay Furniture is premium, high-quality outdoor furniture that is built in Wisconsin and built for Wisconsin. Built from premium and sustainable materials, Sister Bay designs and builds patio furniture to survive years of Wisconsin weather. That's commercial-grade quality for your outdoor space. Customize your Sister Bay furniture set. Pick from several different styles and colors to fit your unique outdoor space. And if you need professional help, Sister Bay Furniture offers a team of in-house experts that help you plan and create the outdoor space of your dreams. Don't wait till the next beautiful day this year. Get out to their showroom today. They're located in Sussex on Executive Drive, or visit the website SisterBayFurniture.com to shop the entire selection. Sister Bay Furniture, built in Wisconsin for Wisconsin.
Ready for summer travel? Start with a trip to Blaine's Farm and Fleet. We have unbeatable deals on automotive supplies and service to give you peace of mind out on the road. Like all Blazer trailer lighting, 10% off. Rewards members save an extra 5%. While you're in for automotive deals, save on all Flowtech well pumps and control boxes for your home, 15% off. Plus, get an Arctic Air personal space chiller for just $34.99. A perfect last-minute Father's Day gift.
Find value at Blaine's Farm and Fleet.
Since 1964, we've changed your tires and so much more. Richland's Tire and Service, such a refreshing change. Richland's.
Hey boaters, cruise to Kendor Marine. We've got everything you need but the water. Got an old boat, a new boat in between. Kendor Marine. Upholstery and parts, hard to find things. Kendor Marine. Hey boaters, cruise to Kendor Marine. We've got everything you need but the water. Everything you need but the water. Hey boaters, cruise to Kendor Marine. We've got everything you need but the water. Like a boat-loving kid in a candy store. Kendor Marine. If you have a question, we have the expertise at Kendor Marine. Hey boaters, cruise to Kendor Marine. We've got everything you need but the water.
Easy to find at 57th and Ryan Road in Franklin or at KendorMarine.com.
It's pop culture time. Now back to take your calls. Here's Jeff Wagner.
Pop Culture Corner, of course, brought to you by Palermo's Pizza. We appreciate their sponsorship. All right, literature today. Yep, and a lot of times we talk about TV or movies, but today we're talking about books. I always make a point every year of trying to pick one or two what I'm going to call classics. You can define classics however you want, but books that I read years and years ago that I go back and I reread. Last year it was Mockingbird, which I loved, and The Great Gatsby, which I didn't like it when I read it the first time in high school, and I wasn't impressed this time. But what's your book that you'd love to reread or that you do reread? Let's start with Dave in Racine. Dave, you're on WTMJ.
Greetings and salutations.
Yes, sir.
The book I like to reread is Catcher in the Rye by Bob Uecker.
Oh, Catcher in the Rye. I thought you were talking about the J.D. Salinger, Catcher in the Rye. I got it. I thought you were talking about the J.D. Salinger book. Right.
Yes, but it's
right.
That little twist in there. Rye was, of course,
right,
like Ryan's and Rye's sense of humor.
Absolutely. Thanks. I've never read that book. I thought you meant the J.D. Salinger one, which, I'm not sure I appreciate it. I read it in high school, and I'm not sure I appreciated it back then. But maybe worth going back to. Let's see, we've got Bill in Racine County. Bill, you're on WTMJ.
Thanks for taking my call.
Yes, sir.
Out in Racine County in beautiful sun. The grass is finally coming up. The sheep and the horses are grazing, and it's feeling good out down here.
And what book do you want to read? What classic?
Old Man in the Sea.
Hemingway.
Again and again.
Yeah. No, thanks for calling. I'm a huge Hemingway fan. As a matter of fact, one of the two books that I'm committed to, like this summer, one of my classics that and again, I have 4 going right now, and I'm on the verge of finishing 2 of them. As soon as I do that, I'm going to factor in. But one of them is going to be Hemingway. For me, it's going to be For Whom the Bell Tolls. But yeah, I'm going to revisit that. No question about it. 855-616-1620. Let's talk to Mary in Cedarburg. Hi, Mary. You're on WTMJ.
Hi.
All right. The book that you never get tired of rereading, or everybody should reread.
I read The Hobbit and then the trilogy about every 3 or 4 years.
Yeah. Why? Why? Why do you read the Lord of the Rings trilogy? I mean, once you read it, it takes a while to reread those 3 books. And The Hobbit as well. Make it 4.
It does. It does, but it's the analogies in it, and you kind of forget some of it every 3 or 4 years because it's so involved.
Yeah. I know.
Right now
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Right now, I'm reading Watership Down.
Oh, right, with the rabbits. Yeah, that. See, isn't it fun to go back and read some of these things that maybe you read years ago? And you're right. You always, especially ones that you liked. You always, boy, I remember why I liked that so much. Yeah. Thanks for calling, Mary. Thanks for calling. Appreciate it. It's it's funny. She mentioned the Lord of the Rings trilogy. It's been ages since I read The Hobbit, but yeah, about 4 or 5 years ago, I did exactly what Mary was doing. I reread the 3 Lord of the Rings books, and you're right. You forget about a lot of stuff, and you forget about how good these things are. Let's talk to Jeff in Fox Point. Jeff, you're on WTMJ. Good afternoon.
Hi, Jeff. Mine is Mary Shelley's Frankenstein.
Okay.
Because in addition to it being a classic monster book, I really like how the narration shifts around with the different perspectives, and it even has the monster telling the story at one point.
Yeah, and thanks for calling. It's incredibly well done. Frankenstein, incredibly well done. Jack in Elkhorn. Jack, you're on WTMJ. Good afternoon.
Hello, Jeff.
Hi.
My book is Huckleberry Finn.
Right.
I had to read it for school back when I was at Pius High in 1968.
Okay.
I couldn't understand it then. I'm trying to read it again. I'll have to go to the library or get it out again. Maybe I'll understand it 54 years later.
Yeah, it's interesting. Thanks for. I'm a big fan of Mark Twain. In the speeches I give, I always quote Mark Twain from his book Following the Equator. But I have to tell you, it's been a long time. Huckleberry Finn and Tom Sawyer. It's been, maybe I should put that on my list. It's been a long time since I have, revisited either one of those. Brian in New Berlin. Brian, you're in WTMJ. Good afternoon.
Hi, Jeff. I'm going to change gears. I was actually going to say The Catcher in the Rye, and
I was actually going to make the same joke about the Bob Euchre book as the previous caller.
Okay.
We'll switch to The Call of the Wild by Jack London.
Oh, boy,
You're
that's
familiar with
interesting. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I remember reading it, whether it was in high school or college, but it's been a long time. That's an outstanding book as well. I went on a Jack London kick years and years and years ago. The stuff he wrote was just tremendous.
Yeah, it was a high school book for myself, and every few years come back to it.
No, you can't go wrong with it. I mean, see, and that's the fun thing about this. And it's also, I always try to what I find is there's stuff that I just didn't appreciate when I was a kid or when you had to read it, and then you go back and you revisit this stuff and you say, wow, that's really good. Don in Pewaukee. Don, you're on WTMJ.
Hi, Jeff.
Hi, Don.
It's a book that I have not read in, I think, 45 years, and it's Animal Farm.
Right, by Orwell.
And I want to read it because it seems to be relative to some of the things we're seeing happen today.
Yes. I'm probably in the same boat as you. I mean, I'm sure I read it in high school. I mean, I remember reading it, and it was one of those things where, I don't quite get it. I understand that this is a commentary on socialism and things like that, but you don't appreciate it when you're reading it when you're 16 years old, like you do when you're older than 16.
Exactly. And I think, it does have relevance today. So I want to go back and reread it and see how it does have relevance.
Oh, I think that's absolutely outstanding. And Don, my producer Charlie obviously agrees with you because you are the winner today of our Palermo's Pizza Prize package. So go find the book and have a frozen pizza on us while you're enjoying it. Okay.
All right. Thanks.
Thanks a lot. Take care. That's and there's a couple that are like that. Animal Farm would be one. 1984 is another one that I read probably in high school because everybody read it in high school, but I've just forgotten a lot about it. Let's see. Let's talk to Steve in Oak Creek. Steve, you're on WTMJ.
Hello. The book
Steve.
is Catch-22.
By Joseph Heller. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's funny.
Great characters.
Yeah, it's funny you should mention that because 2 years ago, I think, I don't know if it was FX or whatever, but they did a mini series with, I remember the movie from years and years ago, but they did a mini series on Catch-22, and when I saw it was coming out, I went back and I reread that book. So I did exactly what you're talking about. I had read it probably in high school or college or whatever, and I definitely got a lot more out of it reading it now than I did when I was a kid. Yeah.
Yeah, again, great characters. Major.
Right.
Bilzerian,
Milo, all that
Bender.
stuff. Right. Yeah. I mean, no, thanks. It one of the rules that I have is that it's not a completely inflexible rule, but I try to, if there's a movie of something, I try to read the books beforehand because if I see the movie, well, it just impacts on how I view things and stuff. It's one of the reasons why Game of Thrones is so very, very popular. I've only seen the first seasons of Game of Thrones because I read that first book and I've got the other ones that are stacked up, but it's just some of that heavy science fiction thing. It's harder. It's really have to be in the mood to get in it. We have so many great texts that are out there. A lot of people, John Steinbeck, the Pearl, lots of John Steinbeck things. Maya Angelou's "I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings." That would definitely be one of them. For me, my two, again, I'm a big Hemingway fan, so it's going to be "For Whom the Bell Tolls" and John Steinbeck. I'm going to. There's so many good Steinbeck books. You could pick The Grapes of Wrath, but I'm going to Cannery Row is the one that I'm going to end up reading. So the bottom line is just get to thinking about this because if it's a nice summer afternoon and you're going to be sitting out in the backyard and having a beer or something, just treat yourself to a good novel, treat yourself to a good book, and sometimes maybe that means revisiting stuff because I guarantee if you read some of these classics, if you read it 20 years ago, if you read it 30 years ago, if you read it 40 years ago, read it again, and you're going to get something more out of it. Okay, that is Pop Culture Corner for this week. Thank you for participating. We'll be back next Friday from Summerfest with a different Pop Culture Corner topic. Right now, I'm going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to find out what John and Sandy have on their minds.
Thanks for participating in this week's Pop Culture Corner. Stay tuned next week for another pop culture topic. Stay in touch. You can reach us on the Old National Bank talk and text line at 855-616-1620. Old National Bank. Get old.
When big national banks make a decision, it requires many emails, phone calls, and plenty of video conferences from around the globe. When we make a banking decision, we do it over a cup of coffee in our office. Finding a local bank that's passionate about the community and knows your name is hard to find these days.
Good morning, Diane. Welcome back.
The search is over.
Waterstone Bank, proud to be your local bank for over 100 years. Love your bank as much as we love this community. Waterstone Bank, Waukesha, Milwaukee, and Washington County.
Member FDIC.
It's ESPN Milwaukee's Jen Latta, and I have told you about the delicious pizza and Italian snacks that you can find at Proof Pizza inside St. Kate the Arts Hotel. But now there's even more to be excited about. The restaurant has added new sandwiches to the menu. Available every day from 11 to 4, you can enjoy items like the Red Rock Chicken BLT, the Meatball Hero, and more. Order from the counter at Proof or directly from the bar at St. Kate. Explore the new sandwiches and the rest of the menu at proofpizzamke.com.
The new Raid Essentials Light Trap uses light to attract, then trap, flying insects like fruit flies and mosquitoes. For insecticide protection that's people and pet friendly, get new Raid Essential Light Trap.
Find furniture for life from Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield, Greenfield, or downtown Milwaukee.
Advent founder Dr. Madan Kandula.
If you were formerly breathing properly and we just plugged your nose up, you're not going to like it. You're not going to like it for a few minutes. You're not going to like it for an hour. You wouldn't stand it for a day. If we're talking weeks, you're going to be clawing at the walls to get that thing off. And if we're talking months to years to decades, many of our patients are basically walking around with clothespins on their nose and they don't know any difference. They've never experienced what life is supposed to be like when you breathe properly, and so for them, they feel like it's normal. It should be no surprise that many of the folks that we treat have downstream conditions. So if somebody's nose isn't working properly, if somebody's throat isn't working properly, they're not breathing properly. And when you don't breathe properly, it creates problems for your body.
When you breathe well, you live better. Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment today.
Breathe well with simple solutions. AdventKnows.com.
WT